say Kenya Power also? Are you Kenya Power or Kenya Power and Lighting Company? It's Kenya Power. I think they changed that. I remember they changed that name. So we are happy to welcome you to this forum. And our program, like you may have seen already, we were expecting that we will start at 9, but according to the African way of looking at the time, the sun is still between 8:30 and 10. So usually there is plus or minus almost 1 hour when we think about the time. Now, for us to start, I would ask that we have somebody to open our forum with a word of prayer so that we can be guided by our Creator, because all the things that we do because we have a purpose that is given to us, that it is not from us. So if we can have somebody to open our program with a word of prayer, I would really appreciate. Any volunteer? Reverend, I think we can ask you to do that for us.
Good morning. And praise God for those who profess in the Christian faith. My assignment is to pray so that we can start up, and of course to welcome you. So feel at home, we pray and ask for God's guidance. Let us pray. Lord, we come to you this morning. We want to thank you for the privilege we are happy of being here as we meet the Kenya Power team and the consumers on the other side here. It's an opportunity to engage and communicate so that we have a conversation on the issues that challenge us in the area of power supply. I thank you, I appreciate you. For those who are on the way coming, hasten their feet. For those who are around, ask them to come in, Lord, and just allow them so that they can join us and we start the journey. For it is in your name we pray and we believe. Amen.
We all say amen, no? We all say amen. Thank you very much, Reverend, for those words of prayer, and we believe God will guide us in our forum. The program for today is not very long, time, but I think we have enough time to be able to look at the things that interest us. One of the things that many residents grapple with is power. And I think that is, particularly in urban areas, that has been the single most important thing that you are not able to provide for yourself. You can go to the river, if the river is far, and look for water. You can look for food, comes to power, you need a provider. Of course, with the time, these other services have become also important as we develop or as the population grows. So in our program, like you probably have it on there, we are looking at some opening remarks and welcoming remarks from the CEO of KARA, and then we will have remarks from Kenya Power. Here, I would think we can also call it a keynote address for this forum. And then we will look at the presentation, or we'll have a presentation from Kenya Power on service delivery. And then we will have as a plenary session where we will ask questions, because I believe we have some issues that we need clarified by Kenya Power. We will also look at the way forward. What are we expecting, or what are our outcome expectations for this forum? We'll have a closing remark, and we hope by 11:30 midday we'll be done with the program. And I can see we will be invited, or we're invited for refreshment, and thereafter for us to live at our own pleasure. So without much ado, because we are already almost 1 hour behind the schedule, I will now invite Henry Oche, the CEO of KARA, to welcome us and also give a few remarks. Welcome, Henry.
Thank you, Geshe. Mine is not much, just to thank you. We had very robust and active participation from those who were there, and a number of issues came through that affect customers or consumers of Kenya Power Services. So we did agree that we have a similar session here today, and for those who have been able to make it, we thank you for that. But essentially, the idea behind all this is to make sure that we provide a platform where we can have a dialogue, we can have a conversation on some of the issues that really affect us as far as Kenya Power Services is concerned. I know that in the past we've had complaints as KARA on a number of issues regarding Kenya Power. But then, rather than sit back and complain and talk about the bad things or the wrong things, we believe that if we create an opportunity So that's an example of how powerful or the kind of role we can play as communities and to support the services that Kenyapar provides to us. Because at the end of the day, if we have interruption of services, it is us who are suffering because we can't be able to go with our businesses normally. So we have to have that sense of responsibility of protecting what we have in terms of the infrastructure and supporting Kenya Power. I think it's also important to provide feedback to Kenya Power so that they can know the kind of expectations that we have, the kind of challenges that we are facing, and also even propose solutions, because it's not true that all the solutions to our challenges reside in Kenya Power. As people who are the wearer of the shoes, we definitely have an idea of what needs to be done to address those kind of issues. So part of the reason why we have this kind of forums is just to ensure that we're able to give feedback on what we are experiencing and also help with ideas on how that can be addressed. So when we have these sessions, we encourage very active interaction, and we encourage people to come up with not just complaint, but also ideas on what must be done. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have our friends from Kenya Power talk to us. If you have any issue, if you have any challenge you are going through, I think we have a team here from Kenya Power who can effectively respond to your issues. So feel free to engage them, feel free to bring your issues, feel free to share your ideas, and also address or come up with what you think should be done to address the issues that we face in our respective neighborhoods and in our respective estates. So that's the essence of this meeting today, and I want to thank you very much for being here with us. I want to recognize Mr. Ephraim Kanake, who, despite being a KARA Governing Council member, has also been a chairman of Plainview Resident Association for many years. That's in South Bay. So he well understands the whole issue around resident association and how they can be able to work with government and various entities to ensure that we are accessing service. For those of you who might be hearing about KARA for the first time, we are an umbrella body of neighborhood organizations or resident associations that come together to talk about service delivery from the point of view of how can we be able to access better services, how can we be able to create partnerships that can then lead to solutions to services that we face, challenges that we face in our neighborhoods. So through our members, we work together to create awareness, to build capacity, and to engage in a constructive way. We now have a very progressive constitution or law that talks so much about public participation and partnerships. So when we have challenges, unlike the previous period when the only way we knew was to go to the streets and protest about Hakietu, I think now there's room for partnership, there's room for discussion, and there's room for people to really talk with each other as opposed to talking at each other and come up with a sustainable solution. So we do work with a number of partners, and Kenyapar is one of them, and many others that we engage with to ensure that our members can be able to access information and access education that can enable them to make informed decisions and informed choices that will impact positively on their lives. So ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this session. I invite you to engage actively and to have whatever ideas you have shared with us, and whatever challenges you have also shared, and we hope that at the end of it all, we'll come up with solutions, both at individual level and also for our neighborhoods, and of course for our county and our country. So many thanks for coming, and let me give back the mic to Peter so that we can go to the next session. Asante sana.
So let's give Henry a round of applause. I think he has been able to give us the reason why we are here, the purpose for which we were invited. And I think it is, like I said, Power, or Kenya Power, is one of the most important service provider that we have around, and I want to thank KARA for the cooperation or the engagement that they have with Kenya Power. And I'm sure by the time we leave here, we will feel much better that we have them as a service provider. Now, I am in our program. We are expecting Dr. Engineer Joseph Sirol. I don't know from Kenya Power if we have somebody to speak on his behalf, so that, or tell me what we need to do before we move on. If somebody can maybe give us the opening remarks. Thank you. I'm informed that he's on the way, and therefore we will skip that part of the program, and we will move in now to the presentation on key service deliveries, delivery milestones and plans by Kenya Power. So I welcome Florence. I think she will also introduce herself more to take us through that presentation. Karibu Florence.
Good morning. From the leadership of the KARA, members, Kenya Power, all protocols observed, good morning again. My name is Florence. I work with customer at Kenya Power as an experience department based at Thika, so we oversee all the customers within Kiambu County. So what I will take you through as we wait for the regional managers to come in, there's a bit today, he's in a meeting but he's on his way coming over. So I'll take you through our USSD, our magic number, which is *977#. Our magic number is allow us to raise complaints to Kenya Power or give feedback. Actually, our rate is just coming in, so I'll be very quick.
Thank you, Florence. I'm sorry for the interruption. We had to take that interruption because we have our regional manager, I believe, for Kenya Power that has joined us, Engineer Ndedero. You are welcome to this forum. In the opening remarks, the CEO of KARA has given the reason why he has invited us, and he has also given us the fact that you are collaborating with the KARA. And as you are coming in, we were trying to skip one item in the program, but now that we're here, we will invite you to give us opening remarks and any message from the CEO of Kenya Power. So welcome Engineer Linero for your remarks. Tumkaribishe kwa makofi.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning again. First of all, my apologies for not being there when we were starting. I was actually in the office attending some things, but had already given my people a signal that whenever you are ready, I can come. But I think you are faster than me. Na nikapata mmeanza. So I know we are a bit late. We were supposed to have started far much earlier than this. I think mine is, first of all, to welcome you to this forum. This has been a partnership between KARA and KPLC. I think there are a number that have been held and are going to be held all over the country. And the idea is really for us to just get a chance to talk together rather than sometimes maybe at each other or through some other forum. And also for us to hear from you, hear what is paying you, what is good, what is not working so well, so that we can see what we can do together to make tomorrow better than it is today. And it is also really a chance for us to know each other. My apologies for the CEO, Dr. Siro, who was actually supposed to be here. He's also the one I was waiting for. But there have been very many things. You know what has been going on in the country, and KPLC is always roped in. There have been some meetings just to ensure that everything is running properly, and that is why I will now be here in the state. We will have been together. So know that anything that is going to come up in this forum is going to be escalated to the highest level of KPLC. I know part of the program is a presentation for us at least we know at least Kenya Power. I don't know where we are on the program. Maybe I can just give that very briefly. I know we don't have much time because really what I value more is the forum. But it is good for you also to know who we are. Sometimes we assume that we are known, and kumbe hatujulikani. Now, I need my technical people to help me here. We can advance because I don't think I'll go through all the slides. I want to be as brief as possible, but at least I want to give you a snapshot of what KPLC is, where we have come from, and where we are now. I know most of you, of course you already are our customers. These are, that was our vision. I don't think we need to worry about that. The most important is, first of all, what we do. Because if you know what we do, you can know what we can do for you. We purchase powers in bulk. Remember, our sector is very liberalized. If you want to build generation, you can generate, and we buy the power from you. At the moment, KPLC is the only off-taker. We are the only ones who buy power, but the law allows for other off-takers. But for the time being, it is KPLC that we purchase the power, and we dispatch it, meaning we buy it from wherever it's generated, whether it is from Seven Forks, the Kindanuma you hear about, or the Turkana, and we dispatch it, we distribute it, and we make sure it gets to all your homes and businesses. So really our job is to buy power, operate the network properly, Of course, we have to make sure that the network is, we have built it and we have maintained a very robust network. And then what you are all familiar with is the retail of the power. And we are old. We are actually old. 1954 is when we were listed, but we are older than that. So that you can see we have been a part of Kenya and Kenya's development right from the beginning. But we started our operations over 100 years ago. We are 102 years. Started very small in Mombasa. At the moment, we have a network exceeding 86,000 kilometers of high voltage lines, and that says 8.9 million customers. It has even gone higher because we are always connecting customers. And Kenya at the moment has an access rate of 75%. What we are saying, 75% of the Kenyan population has been connected to power. The only part that is remaining is 25%, and that one will be achieved before the year 2030. In fact, much before that. I think this shows how we have performed of late. You can see the number of customers we have. This is now for our region. This region is called Northeastern. It has 5 counties: Kiambu, Kitui, Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. So we go all the way up the border. This year we are already connected 46,000, and we are going to do even more than that. Maybe what you'll be interested in is the customer satisfaction index. You can see what it was in 2019, 73%. The last one we did, we are 74, and it has even gone higher. For system losses, you can see more efficient, that's efficiency. And we have quite a number of large power customers. I know KARA is more for residential, but I know we also run businesses, and we also have our customers on the other side. I think you can continue. And this is what we are committed to do as a company. We believe in improving customer service, enhancing your experience, and of course we have to improve sales and revenues, because if we are not making money and making good use of it, we will not be here tomorrow. And of course always to be more efficient so that we can pass some of those benefits to you. So, since we're in Kiambu, this relates to Kiambu, and these are some of the things that we are doing to make your life better. This is smart metering. We have already introduced a smart metering, especially for your businesses and some of your homes. These are meters where we do not need to send a meter reader to read the meter. We get the readings directly, and if you pay, it reconnects immediately. You can see the reconnection times are reduced to 0. If you are disconnected and you have to be reconnected and you have a smart meter, it is immediate. The other thing, that is for the ones who receive bills. Majority of you, I'm sure you are prepaid. And at the moment, what we are doing for prepaid, there is something we are calling TAD firmware upgrade on prepaid meters. These are some of the old prepaid meters that we want to modernize and make them operate very well. Coming to your places to do this change in the meters. So please, I know you have questions for me and requests for me. My request, first request is, please, when our people come, give them access. There is a way, if you suspect, if you are not sure there is a KPLC person, there is an app that you will be shown that where you can identify anybody, including me or the MD, and you will know whether we are KPLC or not. And once you see the KPLC, you can allow them in. If they are not, call the police or whoever, and of course, don't give such people access. So our people will be ground, not for all prepaid meters. It is really for the older ones. The ones who are connected the other day, that does not affect you. You can move on. Of course, some of the other things that we have done is giving you more payment options. I know sometimes people queue in our offices, but I see the other options, especially like mobile payments and M-Pesa and the others, are very popular, and we continue to expand them and encourage you to use that so that you can also save your time. We do not want you to spend so much time just trying to make a payment. And in fact, it is not just payments, we even want for you to be able to do self-service, and if you need guidance, we will tell you it can be done. Our team here will tell you about that. The other project that we have been doing is GIS data collection. This is mapping out all our meters and your premises so that they can be seen on the GIS system, meaning that when you make a complaint, it doesn't matter who you make it to. We can know exactly where we are, where you are. Hatutashinda tukikuuliza maswali mingi ama tunakwambia ati tumepotea. Now that one is not going to be an excuse. So we have a team of young people who has been moving around. Again, they have company IDs. They'll just come take the details of your meters and things like that and take the coordinates so that they can be put in our system. Again, that is a kind of engagement I will tell you. Please give them access. Always verify that you are dealing with a bona fide KPLC person. It is a very quick thing. It is an app that will tell you within seconds that the person standing with you has the right to be there at your premises to do what he's saying that he wants to do. Those are some of our teams. I think our revenue, maybe I'll not go very much into that, but what you need to know, at least KPLC, our sales are increasing because we are connecting more people. Our revenue is also increasing. Remember, we are government owned, meaning that you also own us, and we have to make that money so that we can also deliver it to the exchequer and also to you as shareholders, because we are a publicly listed company. These are some of the things that we have done lately to increase our efficiency and reliability of power to you. So we have connected a new board at Kikuyu substation, and the ones of you who live that side, maybe you'll give your testimony. We did this in December, and it has really improved reliability in that area. We also got, in the same areas, we have a big station at Dagoretti. We have been able to tap that so that for the people who stay between Dagoretti and Kikuyu, you have benefited from that. Limuru, there is a new 66 kV line which is going on there, and that will really improve supply. Ruiru and Githunguri, we commissioned one of the biggest substations in the country. It is next to Kenyatta University. We did that actually just earlier this month, and that we've already seen it is making a difference. So it means if you're from Ruiru Githunguri, it means you'll have enough power. We've already tapped in that station. We are getting power from it. Can continue. In Thika, we have also built quite a number of feeders, again to supply you, put in new transformers to relieve the overloaded ones. Juja and Gatuanyaga, we've also done quite a bit of work. And of course, we are working on all our rotten poles and trace maintenance. This is like clearing the trees which are near the lines. As you know, trees or any object approaching a line is a big problem to us. And again, if there is any request that I would make to you as KARA and you as residents and our customers, trees are dangerous when they are next to the line. They are dangerous to you and your children. But I know sometimes when we want to cut them, especially if it is a tree that you planted, you would not want it cut. But normally we are just pruning them. So please be giving us access. We'll never come and cut without consulting you. And you can also request to cut it. We can actually shut off the power for you to cut it. So this is one area where I would want us to be working together, because when you have trees on the line, they'll always touch the line and you'll have interruptions. I think the other day you saw in Kiambu, in this county, when it rained very heavily And big trees fell and they destroyed our power lines, they destroyed transformers, they blocked roads. I think you are affected. Sasa hiyo mti ikianguka iangukie hii mitambo, even accessing was a problem because the trees had blocked the road. So we had to get people to first of all cut the trees so that you could move. I know some of you are even trapped in your houses or could not get home. We also had the same problem. Then after we reach there, we have to repair. That means you stay without power for a long time. But if we had managed those trees and made sure that the dangerous ones are cut, because we also don't want to cut trees, we know how important they are. We only want to cut the ones that are a danger to us and to you. And let's proceed. Kiambu, these are quite a number of projects. I think I'll not really go into all of them, but the take home is that we are ever improving. Even from whatever we hear from you, because we'll hear from this forum, we'll hear complaints from this place to the other, we shall check the root cause. And if we see the problem is maybe your area is inadequately served or requires some modifications, we'll make that part of our plan, which we'll either do in this financial year, if we can. The financial year is only remaining like 2.5 months, or it will be our plan for the next year. That is the way we work. We identify the problems, we make them part of our plan, we get the budget, and we implement them. And that is why we like these discussions, because it is not a talking shop. Whatever we come out of here is what will form the plan for tomorrow. A bit about the future. Can move very quickly. These are things that I so really like to champion. There is e-mobility. This one is coming. You have already seen buses that are operating with power, using electricity. Very quiet, very, very safe. Some people are already buying them. We are working to improve on that. We even have bodabodas that are even operating using electricity, and they are really quite reasonable. The boda people say they actually make quite a bit of money from that. So we are helping in improving that infrastructure. So know that if you are thinking of going into that line, either as a business or it is just your own vehicle, this is something that we are very much interested in, and we shall help build this infrastructure and reduce this burning of fossil fuels and the poisoning of our atmosphere. This is a very safe way. Something else that we are also championing is e-cooking, especially the use of the electric pressure cooker. This, at the moment, you believe it or not, sorry about that, is the cheapest form of cooking. It is cheaper than gas. It is cheaper than gas. It is definitely cheaper than charcoal. Actually, charcoal is the most expensive. It is very fast. It is very safe. This is something we would advocate for all of you. Whether you cook or not, we know at least you like good food. This thing produces very, very good food, and would be very much interested if you could move in that direction. It is not that Kenya Power makes any money from there, but we like it when our customers are benefiting, that you save money, because you end up using very little money for your in your kitchen. And this is just what I was saying, that we are really very strong in promoting this so that you can benefit. And of course, even for us, that means sales. But I think it is good for the country. It is good for the environment. That is why you can see we are linking up with UNEP, because electricity is one of the cleanest form of energy that you can use. Again, I think I've already summarized on that. This is call for support. I think I've been mentioning some of these things. I know you'll have requests for us. These are my request, or our request to you, that please be allowing us to access your premises. There's always identification. Sometimes we might even want to come to your place, not that you have a problem, but your neighbor has a problem. But because the line passes through your place, we need to get into your place. And sometimes people wonder, why should I let these people in? Like we've said, we'll show you how you can identify anybody. Even before you open the gate, you'll be able to identify whether that is a bona fide KPLC person, and please allow them in. This one, I think we are talking more of what I was saying, this upgrade of the prepaid meters. Please give them that support. Then, please go back, because that is important, because I know this generates quite a bit of the prompt payment of bills. That what would urge you is that if you receive a bill and you have a query, our offices are open. You can call us anytime to maybe query that bill. You think there's something wrong with the bill, and let me assure you now, before you even ask that question, if there is something wrong with the bill and we have overbilled you, we always rebill it. We have never believed in getting a shilling from you that we have not earned. We are human beings. We can make mistakes. If we make mistakes, come to us, we shall correct it. That is my assurance, that nobody should feel that they cannot come to us, or you need to go to a third party to assist you. Just come talk to us. Na tutakwambia ukweli wa mambo. Kama bili iko mzuri, tutakwambia iko sawa. Kama tuliku overcharge, we shall tell you. If we have undercharged, we shall tell you. Because we want to get, if I give you service worth a shilling, I only want 1 shilling. I don't want shilling and 10 cents. And I do not want 95 cents. I only want 1 shilling. So, because of sometimes people delay in paying bills, we are forced to disconnect. We do not want to disconnect, because when you are disconnected, it means we are also not getting that revenue. So just pay the bill if it is okay. If it has an issue, see us before. Because if you do not pay, we end up disconnecting. And we have even offered that service again. Like I told you, there are many things that you can do just on your phone. Even receiving your bill, you can see it, getting your tokens. You don't need to call us. Even if it is delayed, you can recover the token yourself by using that one number. In fact, this is one number you should all write down. *977#. Please write it down if you don't already have it. I know some of you are users. If you do not already have it, write *977#. This helps you in very many things. It helps you in buying tokens, paying your bills, reporting power complaints, even reporting something you've seen on the road that is dangerous. If you are passing somewhere and you see maybe the power lines are leaning badly, you are even afraid, very quickly you can get into this, and we shall get the information, and we shall get back to you. So you do not have to start wondering, which number do I use to call Kenya Power? If you have this number, you will reach Kenya Power. Just that simple number. Then the other thing that would also like to tell you, this is called for support. This is safety. Power, like fire, is a very good master, very good servant, but a very bad master. Ikikuweza itakumaliza. And we really insist on safety. And for safety, we ask you to engage a licensed electricians. Those are not our people, those are third parties, and we have very many who are licensed. The regulator licenses them. This is EPRA. You can even go to their website and you'll see the people who are licensed. Unfortunately in Kenya, not just our industry, there are very many quacks. Kwa mjengo, kwa nini, hata kwa hospitali kuna quacks. People who pretend that they know the job and they'll offer you a very good price as compared to what the market is charging. But the guy knows nothing. He doesn't even have the right documentations. So he cannot even get you the right certificates. He has to go somewhere and buy them or give you fake ones. This is one place where I would ask you to really avoid that. Remember, it is your home. You are there with your children. It is not a place you would want danger. So, and really the electricians, kila kitu iko na bei yake. Kama hivyo ndio inalipishwa, we all pay that. These are the guys who come and say they can get you for less. Hao ni wahuni, na would ask you to avoid them for safety of all of us as Kenyans. Of course, no, please, safety is very important. Like I mentioned, with the rains, especially when the trees come down, you'll always find lines that come down. If there is such a thing, please
Always advise your people. Naona siku hizi vijana, you know, the young people we have let at home, they are very daring. Hata wakiona hiyo kitu wanaweza enda kujaribu kutoa. So us as their parents, because I can see most of us here are parents, please advise them. Whenever there is such a thing, let them not get near it. Because the problem with power, you can never know whether it is live or not. Haioneshi, haina harufu, haina nini. In fact, we always say, ukiona inakaa ni kama iko baridi, that is the time it is very dangerous. When you see it removing fire, that one is not as dangerous as the quiet one. So just avoid them. Call that number, the one that I told you to write if you do not have it, and we shall come and attend to that. Because these are things that happened. Anything that was built by human hands, one day fails. Ikianguka chini, just avoid it and you will be safe. I think the one of trees I've already said. Now, I know we have two types of problems with trees. They are the ones who do not want us to cut their trees because maybe they think they are beautiful. But on the other side, Wakenya kuna wale wanataka kukata miti kwa sababu wanataka mbao, wanataka kuni, wanataka makaa. And they sometimes cut those trees and those trees fall on our lines and the lines fall on them and we have lost lives that way. So that anytime when you want to cut a tree, this is mainly maybe in your farm or something like that, uko kwa mashamba. Always feel free to call us. If you feel that tree is dangerous and you see as if it can fall on the line, we will come and we shall cut the tree together at no cost to you. Tutakuja sisi wenyewe kwako, tutaangalia, tukiona hiyo mti iko dangerous, tukwambia hapana, wacha sisi ndio tuikate. Ama we'll tell you, this one you can cut, but we shall isolate the power for you such that hata ikiangukia haitakuwa na shida. So anytime you need to cut that, know that we offer that service. We are available. We shall come to your place at no cost to yourself. The other ones, I think, are just the of not overloading. This is more a message for you to give the other people. I know in your house you have very many people, not just the children, uko na mfanyikazi na nini. They might not know those things. And unaweza kuchomea nyumba, wanaweza kukuumizia mtoto. And the general one we always say is that whenever there is a problem, ukiona mtu ameshikwa na stima, we always have these problems. The moment I see he has been caught, najaribu kwenda kumtoa, sote tunashikwa. We said power is very bad when it is a master. Kama mtu ameshikwa, the best you can do for him is to look for a place to switch off that power. If that has happened and it is bad luck and you do not know where, usimguse, wachana naye, tupigie sisi, tukuje. We have been able to save people like that because anaweza kuwa ameguswa tu, he's just unconscious, we might be able to save them. Lakini ukimshika, sasa badala kuongea mtu mmoja, tunaongea wawili. Let's proceed. Now, this is the other area where we ask you for support. And I know some of the questions you are going to ask about interruptions, this is going to be the answer. Unfortunately, in Kenya, we are having a lot of vandalism and fraud. Vandalism first, people are destroying ile wanaita mali ya umma. Iko transformer inawasavu, watu wanakuja wanaiba hiyo transformer, wanaiangusha, hata kwa barabara, I think mmeona. So virtually all public infrastructure, whether power lines, even Safaricom infrastructure, people are interfering with it. Sijua anaona ni kama ina mwenyewe, yet it serves all of us. So this is one place where I would ask you to really help us, that if you see something funny happening to your transformers, funny people, call us. Those could be vandals. Now, akiiba transformer yako, it means you stay in darkness. So some of the interruptions that we get is due to vandalism. Here we have been operating with Ngao. These are the chiefs, Nyumba Kumi, and it is one place we would want to partner with you to safeguard this infrastructure so that a third party does not come to your homes, your estate, and interferes with the network that is serving you, and you end up not having power. Can I continue? And I think that's it. So those are some of our take-homes. That was my presentation. I did not want to take very long because, like I said, I'm more interested in the open session where we can get to hear from each other. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Tumpigieni makofi mazuri. I am sure, just like me, I have learned something new that I didn't know from that presentation. I think the first one to take home is that there is e-mobility and e-cooking. Kwanza hiyo ya e-cooking, I don't like cooking, but I thought it's a very good thing to hear that it is cheaper than gas, and which means there is a saving. So I think that presentation gives us now space to go to the next session, which is the plenary or question and answers, or a conversation. It doesn't have to be a question, it can also be your experience of ni nini umeona katika supply ya power, your experiences, na ni mambo gani tunaweza improve. Because all of us, when we have a service provider, we are partners. There is somebody who told me that when you open a restaurant, now I have a right to that restaurant. So when you close it, or when you don't open on time, then you are interfering with my right, even though I come to buy there. So when a service is being provided, ni sasa tunakuwa partners. Because when power is down, then the supplier or the provider is an expense to me. It causes expenses to me. When I don't use that power, he is not able to continue with the business because hawezi kupata malipo kwa sababu power is not supplying. So now I will invite us to, if there are any questions, to ask, and if there are any comments, any experiences, muda ndio huo wetu sasa kujadiliana, because out of this conversation that we will have, tutapata way forward. Nimeona katika presentation Engineer Ezra ametuambia take home, vile zile vitu anataka tuende nazo nyumbani. Nyinyi mngetaka Kenya Power waende na nini nyumbani ili waweze kuimprove service ambayo wanatupea. So karibuni sana. I hope there is another mic somewhere so that we can help in this conversation. So the floor is open for us. Tafadhali feel free na karibuni sana. Who goes first? No, usually ladies are first, even though men are before. So Sarah, we will allow you to start first. At the back there. At the back. You introduce yourself and then you give us your question or comment.
Good morning. My name is Sarah, and I am a resident of Kikuyu. And I heard the engineer say that you're doing some things in Kikuyu. Mine is actually an experience as a resident of Kikuyu area. Over the last between 3 months or late last year, our electricity goes off every week, at least 2 days. And we have complained until today. We no longer complain. That is the area called Wamakima Road. And our electricity, there are 2 lines. There's a line that goes to Kikuyu, and there's the line that goes to Kino. So my house is under the line that goes to Kino. And even of last night and today morning, we don't have electricity. Until now, we don't complain. So we've not even dialed 977 hash because it's frequent. Every week, 2 days, we don't have electricity. Every month, so you can calculate that is every month until we go to a point now, it's no longer, it feels as if it's no longer necessary. I think it's a bad experience that we are experiencing in that area. We have a WhatsApp group that the only thing even today morning I'm seeing is complaints from Getaro area, from a place called Wangige, just complaints of electricity with blackout. There's a place called White House, blackout. So I think the WhatsApp group is managed by the engineers. So I think just look into it because I think it's too much. It's too much to complain every time. It's too much.
Okay, thank you for that question. We will take another question. I think there was a hand here. After that, we'll come to you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Daniel Mwangi, a resident of Thika, and also I'm in real estate, managing agent, and also I also being the town or the commercial buildings and the residential ones. Yes? Number one, nowadays we have a lot of estimates. Bills. We don't know the reason, whether we don't have the capacity of the meter readers or what is not happening. We would like to know why all that a lot of estimates. Number two is now meter replacement. Maybe niko na postpay and I want to have a prepaid meter because of one reason or the other. Once you visit the Kenya Power Desk, the kind of information yenye tunaambiwa, like personally mimi nimeenda nikaambiwa kwanza zimesimamishwa for the period of some months, then afterwards you can come back after some few months then tuone kama it happen. So I will explain to us why is it huwezi chejiwa instantly from postpay to prepaid currently and you had to wait for those months. Yes? Number 4 is now the cost of prepaid. Those now who are in the constructing nowadays, once you finish your construction, you want those meters, tunaambiwa ziko na cost, not vile tulikuwa tumezoea ile ya 2,500, tunaambiwa tujitayarishe zitakuja at a cost. We don't know how much and availability and how soon it can be available. Number 5, sasa hii inatuhusu sasa sisi kama agent. Unapata nyumba imehamwa, unaenda unachukua picture ya hiyo meter na the actual readings, unapeleka kwa Kenya Power. Ukifika pale hakuna mtu wa kupatia instantly. Uko na bill inaonyesha readings, mko na previous readings, lakini unaambiwa you have to wait iweko kwa system na unataka mmalizane na huyu client aende umrudishie deposit yake. So we request for a desk ya kutoa bill instantly. Once mtu amekuja na actual readings na akona picture kindly, then kwa hiyo picture ningeomba Kenya Power ikuwe na printer pale. Mimi nikikuja na picture nimepiga na simu, tena nisiambiwe nitoke huko nje nitafute pahali imprintiwe nikuje nayo. Nikirudi then wananiambia hii quality si nzuri, ebu sema simu picture ipigwe huko mwenye ako karibu ama aenda upige urudi baadaye. Sisi wote simu zetu hazifanani na unaweza tafuta kutoa ile quality, lakini kama readings zinaonekana vizuri, tafadhali uacha kuniambia niadae picture tena. sawa sawa. Then kuna mambo na hawa inspectors wenu wenye wanakuja kwa our premises. Tuko na shida sababu those guys wenye wanakuja kujieleza, I don't know, inakuwa shida. Ni sawa, utaona ni mtu wa Kenya Power, lakini akiingia apate abnormality pahali kwa mita, hata kuuliza bona hii waya inapita hapa inaenda hivi, mara moja anafunga, anaweka seal, anakuambia tupatane Kenya Power. Na maybe mtu mwenye amepata hapo, amepata either caretaker ama a resident ama mtu mwenye anakaa hapo, so hajajieleza na hajaelezea shida ni nini. Maybe wakiwa kwa ground, huyu mtu angemwambia hii mita iko na shida, ama huyu na huyu wanashare hii mita, upewe hiyo nafasi. So wakifunga wanaenda, unabaki ukikesi na ofisi wenye hako kwa ground. Na wakati wamefunga, mimi kama landlord sikuwa, I also have my electrician, and maybe tenant anaweza na caretaker wanaweza kuwa na their own arrangement, wafanye like maybe bypass, of which I'm not aware. I'm not an electrician. So I would request, once they find a abnormality kwa mita, wana request, wanaelezea mwenye nyumba, tumekuja, tumepata hii na hii na hii na hii, are you aware of? Anasema hapana. Anasema basi wacha nitume electrician wangu, mko hapo, mkuje mumuelezee vizuri, tuone shida iko wapi, tutatue. Hakuna hiyo room. So ningeomba hata hapo wakuwe na karum kidogo tu, juu mimi akinielezea sitaelewa, juu I'm not an electrician, but I have my electrician, amuelezea tumepata hivi na hivi na hivi. Na mimi nikikuja kujitetea, electrician wangu hatakuwa hapo. So chenye mimi nitaelezewa sitajua. So itabidi sasa ni abide na ile hukumu nitahukumiwa, kama ni fine nalipa. Sasa lakini nitaenda kama sijaridhika. So hapo ningeomba kama hao inspectors wamefika pale kwa ground, watake kujua ni nani yako in charge, wamuelezee tumepata hii na hii na hii na hii. Electrician wani wako karibu, akuje tumuelezee. Juu mimi nikikuja kuhando pale, electrician ila tukuje na yeye ama yeye anibrief. Juu nikiongea na mtu wa Kenya Power, tusikizanage juu atakuwa hapana, hii hapa nimepata kuna wizi ya stima, tupatane kwa ofisi. So nikikuja nitakuja sina information. Two, sometimes also we don't trust them, because amekuja kwa mita ako peke yake, anaweza fanya mambo yake, mimi sijui, alafu nikuja niambie unaona hapa kuna bypass. So nikikuja na ni yeye na Kenya Power ilimtuma kwa ground, mtamuamini, mimi sitapata nafasi ya kujieleza, inabidi nalipa chenye nimeambiwa. So ndio tufunge hiyo. Wacha wakifika kabla ingie kwa meter board, kama kuna mtu hapo aitwe waone, wakiweka seal waweke kila kama mtu kuna witness ameona hawaja interfere, ni seal tu ameweka, alafu tuongeange baadaye. Ya mwisho, kuna hii nikichelewa kulipa bill yangu, due date ifike, kuna ile instant charges inawekewa hapo ya reconnection ama disconnection of job not rendered, juu hamujakuja kukata, lakini mmeniwekea reconnection. Swali yangu ni moja, na ningeomba hapa Kenya Power ijaribu kutofautisha the commercial building and the residential, yenye mtu amejenga boma yake anakaa yeye mwenyewe. Juu sasa kama mimi nimejenga flat, mmenipea mita 50 ziko na jina yangu zote, nimepea tenant ndio consumer kwa wakati huo, lakini Kenya Power inajua mimi. Once huyu amekataa kulipa, umeniwekea mimi sababu mimi niko na contract na ni mimi niko na hiyo mita yenu kwa building yangu, umeniwekea 580. Huyu mtu akihama, maybe alikuwa na bill ya 10,000 inabakingi kwangu. Naye mtu mwenye yule current mwenye ama tenant mwenye atakuja kuingia, hata kubali kuingia nyumba kama iko na deni. Na nikikuja kwenu mnatuambia wewe hatujui huyo, tunajua wewe, mita inasoma wewe, Kenya Power ndio imepatia. Hapo tusaidieni sababu tunaachiwa bills kubwa Juu wewe ukisaweka hiyo reconnection unamalizana nayo. Akihama inabaki kwa landlord. So hapo ningetaka mtu angalilie either mkuwe na, kama mtu anakuja kurent nyumba anaweza pewa temporary ownership ya hiyo mita akihama. So ni jukumu ya Kenya Power kufikia juu huyo ndio alikuwa consumer. Na ya mwisho wenye imetuudhi zaidi. Kama niko na mita 10 zimerejistiwa na jina yangu, mtu mmoja akose kulipa, mnakata stima zangu zote zenye ziko na jina yangu. Mbona muni victimize? Ili hali ni kazi yenu kujua hii bill ni overdue, mwende mkate. Na hiyo ni kitu imetusumbua sana na ni process kubwa. Tena hata ukienda ulipe, process ya nirudisiwe sasa access ya kununua token, hiyo hapo inatusumbua. Na ningeomba ombi ya mwisho, kama ni mimi mmenipatia mita, munikubalie na au kikukuwe na kikao ya Kenya Power versus landlords versus agent peke yao. Tukuje tuulizane. Mimi nikipea mtu nyumba, deposit yenye mimi uitisha ya stima ni 2500. Tusikizane, nikiona bill iko over ile deposit niko nayo ya stima, mturuhusu. Sisi wenyewe tunajikatia stima, sababu hii bill ikiescalate bado itabaki kuwa ni mzigo yangu. Ili hali mmeninyima hiyo sasa chance ya kujikatia stima yangu na ni yangu, nyinyi peke yenu ndio mnaweza kata. Kama saa hii na deal na stima nimeachiwa bill ya 52000. Najiuliza kitambo ifike 52000, where was the Kenya Power? Kitambo ifike 52000, where was that person mwenye amekuwa akisoma stima juu inasoma ni actual readings not estimates. Mtu mwenye anakuja kusoma si yako na ile list na anajua ile deni iko, mbona asikate? Nitamalizia hapo.
Sawa, ningetaka ukilete point usi explain sana kwa sababu nafikiria unataka jibu. Lakini kama uko na solution tafadhali pia ufanye hivyo. Naona kama maswali hayo ni mengi sana. Sijui kama tujibizane hayo ama tuulize mtu mmoja zaidi. One more. Alafu tujibiwe hizo kwa sababu kuna maswali nyingine ambayo pengine mko nayo ambayo itajibiwa kulingana na vile atajibu hayo. Ni wewe napea nafasi. Nilikuwa nimepea huyu. Tafadhali.
Okay, asante. Majina yangu ni Chege Dhuku, nimetoka Juja. Na mimi na deal na maneno ya renewable energy and I'm a community leader. Asante Bwana Ezra. Nimekuona leo. Tumesikia sana maneno ya jenga wa Kenya Power. Fikisha salamu zetu kwa jenga. Sasa tutakuwa tunadeal na wewe. Mine are cross-cutting issues, questions and also solutions. One, nimekusikiza. Tuanze na maneno ya customer care. I propose identification and branding. Let me give an example. Angalia warembo. You can clearly see huyu ametoka Kenya Power. Si ndio? Now, wakati unatuma watu kwa boma, they have no identification. Let me give an example. There is a group of NYS. Mulituma, I think, to collect data. Walikuja boma zingine, wengine wajafungua gate because boma ni tofauti. Waligonga mlango mpaka wale wote wa ploti walitoka kuangalia ni nini. So nikawauliza, hii ni boma. We are not thieves. Everybody else ametoka kuangalia. Waligonga. Ni kama fujo. Nikawauliza, ukikuta gate imefungwa si urudi baadaye. We are not thieves. That is not the way to handle issues. Then wanakuja wanafungua, vijana wadogo wakaanza kufungua, interfering, wanafungua shimo ya maji, sijui wameenda wapi. Now, no identification, no introduction, nothing. Niliwakelelesha, they had to apologize. So what you need to do, let them come branded like this, na kuje ile number umempatia. Whether you call it PFF number, the way they do in civil service, they should have a number. Anaonyesha kadi ndio hii na ako branded ni hivi. This is one way to mitigate. It creates checks and balances. Hakuna mtu atakuja kufake nguo ya Kenya Power akiwa kwa kazi during the day. Nobody will do that. That will solve that problem. Now, on the issue of niongeo ingine is about issues you have not mentioned, carbon credits. Sikusikia ukimention carbon credits. Me, I'm in renewable energy. Okay, I'm dealing in biogas and briquettes. And I attended the climate summit. I didn't even mention about carbon credits. Are you buying from them, us? Because I can see you're talking about e-mobility. In that e-mobility, how has it structured that e-mobility so that I know how can I come in as an agent to benefit in carbon credits? So that leads to something else. That is an area I would like you to elaborate. Then I would like you to talk about wealth creation. Because carbon credit is another revenue stream of income. And that is also creating wealth. Now, in terms of that wealth creation, you had a proposal on agency model. Your agency model ikaifikiria, lakini you're only targeting only those with money. Wakati unaweka 10 million, surely. How many SMEs can afford to have a bulk of 10 million and resell? So you need to rethink your model as a way of wealth creation in terms of that. The other one is about, I didn't talk about waiver and penalties. Sahi tunajua KRA imepeana waiver mpaka June. Nilikuwa huko watu wamepewa mawaiver so that they're able to do their businesses. Do you give waivers on those penalties? So have you any time frame where up to June you are giving waivers on this? Amesema 52,000. So situanze nayo mpatie waiver. Useme hiyo tumetoa. I didn't hear you mention about CSR. The corporate social responsibility as Kenya Power in this region. Sijasikia hiyo. So we don't know, after you collect all the money, how are you bring the benefit to the community? We are not feeling you. Tuesday tulikuwa na mkutano ya Juja Municipality Spatial Planning. Yeah, in the entire 5 wards. I didn't see you, I didn't hear you. We need to see you more. We need to feel you, we need to hear you. And mujitume kwa community. When these forums are done, come there, we give you a desk. We need to feel you more. We need to feel you because you are a big player. Now, on mi nimetoka Juja. Juja is the second largest in Kiambu in terms of land mass after Lari. Juja is the second in terms of population from the Kenya 2019 census. We are second from Roiro. So the future of Kiambu ni Juja in terms of land mass and population. Can you have an office there? We need to have an office there. I saw you talking about maneno ya yes, there's something you're doing about electricity. You need to upgrade Juja in terms of power. You cannot compare Juja and Roiro. Roiro system ipotei. Sijui kama ni jenga wa Kenya Power nakaa Roiro, ni jirani ya MC ama ni nani. The power outages in Juja are just outrageous. And if you go Kipanda Jaiku Watapo Mbele, that is becoming an industrial zone. So Juja is emerging both as an educational and an industrial zone. Ukija hapa Wetaithia kuna industry, there is coming up a pharmaceutical industry. Hapa tu behind Zetec. So if you look in terms of futuristic, then Juja is emerging as an educational and industrial zone. Because Thika ni kama imejaa. So that is the next frontier. It has the space of landmass. It has young population because of the students, okay, who are doing all the manner of skills. So industries can tap into the knowledge of the young people. But how is your plan in terms of increasing so that the demand, the population, the growth is able to match? I think that's something you need to look at. Then you talked about we check the licenses of electricians. Jana nilikuwa offices za NCA Kiambu, National Construction Authority. They also saying that they want to work with the registered, skilled, and also unskilled. Now I have a question. Do we go with the ones on NCA or do we go with the ones with EPRA or do we go with both? Who are you working with? Are you working with NCA registered ones or we only work with EPRA registered ones? I think that's correct. So that we need to know whether you are absorbing both, because those are both government agencies registering the same electrician. Do we have the same electrician registered by EPRA and also NCA, or how do you want to handle that? Then, as I finish, you talked about infrastructure fraud. Now, if you come to, I've done a survey. If you look at scrap metal dealers, kuna vijana wengi sana wanazurura kaboma wakichukua vitu. And it is paid according to the value and the weight. So imagine hiyo mtu amepeleka hizo machumba za copper. How much do you think is going to be paid? And 1 kilo is 10 shillings. But I have never had any forum. I wrote a letter to the one of the, now you call the Mrs. the DOs, requesting the branding, identification of that, and having a forum where we're able to identify this. It was never done. Maybe what I propose, can we, because now the system, they have been streamlined, they are registered. Can we have all the scrap metal dealers, nyumba kumi, hiyo ngao unasema, okay, wazee wa kijiji, a forum together. And then let us have a database. You have a database with all the scrap metal dealers, iko na ngao na iko na hao wengine. Then we make sure that anybody, hao vijana, because moja ako na 10, mwingine ako na 7, mwingine ako na 20, they are registered under that scrap metal dealer, they are identified. Then let them be sensitized. What material should not be taken to them, and they can also help you in terms of policy. And with those few remarks, I want to recommend that you also come up with a master class where people can log in to learn some of these things. Na unitumia hiyo PowerPoint presentation, and also you answer this final one. In manufacturing, why is it that we are not competitive in manufacturing? How do we lower the cost? 2, and also, if I was to sell power, are you buying power from renewable energy? If I put up a big biogas plant, can you buy that? And is that the way to go? Now, in Juja, you have talked about e-mobility. If you have to get to an infrastructure place, because I am in the transport committee in charge of the trucks and logistics, and we are coming up with a public transport policy for Kiambu County, Juja as a pilot. Do you want us to identify a private sector so that it can be a public-private partnership where we can have the e-mobility for vehicles, and I've not heard any mentioning border borders. So that we say, like in JQ, what we are proposing, they can give some space, we put up an e-mobility. So do we identify private, or do you have to go to government? And in that e-mobility, if you go that way, if it is now public, then carbon credits inaenda wapi? If we do it private, can I benefit from e-mobility in terms of carbon credits? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have to respond to those questions first. There are very many. I hope you have captured all of them. Tutasaidiana, zile utakosa tutakukumbusha.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for those questions. I think I'll tackle some, and others, I might even give them to some of my people. And let me just address them in the order that they came. We had Madam Sarah from Kikuyu, Wamba wa Makima Road. You are saying you've even stopped complaining. Yeah, I think I know about this place. We were there, I think, last week. And let me tell you, you know, it is good for us to be very frank. Like I told you, we improved the supply in Kikuyu area. The line that serves you is one of the best. Unfortunately, what has been happening, there has been, there at Wamba Road, I don't know whether you stay at Wamba Road exactly, some of those flats, and this is where, this is also part of the take home. They have engaged third parties, quacks, who keep on interfering with our supply. So sometimes you complain, and we try, and we cannot see anything. And we find it is a third party who was working there. We also have this habit of, if let's say there is a problem on one of the lines, they don't call us. they call the third party. This one moves all those customers to another line. It gets overloaded. When it gets overloaded, they move to another one. Until everything comes down, that is the time when they are not able to do that, they call us. So imekuwa ni mchezo wa paka na panya. We are trying to organize so that we call all those people, the tenant, the residents, the landlords, so that we can stop that behavior. Because as long as there is interference, that there is you, there is me, and there is also a third party who is playing a part and we don't know what he's doing, things will never be clean. So it is a place that we are dealing with. And I know once we stop those quacks from interfering, the place is going to be very stable because it is an area that has adequate power. If there is adequate power, you should be able to enjoy it. But unfortunately, because of that interference, we get more interruptions than we need to. So I think with that engagement, once we have engaged with you as residents and the landlords there, and that practice stops, then we shall be able to work on that network and bring it to a level that it can serve you properly. And please don't get don't stop complaining. The reason why complaining helps, because I could be the problem. Maybe mimi ndio sifanyi kazi. Ukicomplain namna hiyo pia inaniangazia. Na kama sifanyi ili ningolewe. And sometimes you might be thinking that we know, but we do not know. Because like I was been saying, people have been complaining to third parties. So you have a problem, you think I know and I am not doing anything, but I'm actually not aware. But if you tell me, I come, and we shall be coming. Na tukiendelea hivyo, I think we are going to sort you, and maybe if that answer, there is still something you want, we can still talk offline, and we can agree on the way forward for the next few days. So that was Sarah. And please keep on reporting on those WhatsApp groups. By the way, they are very, very useful. If wherever you stay, you do not have a WhatsApp group, please talk with this team so that we form one, because it is a very quick way of reaching us. If you put it in WhatsApp, because I have very many young people, they are ever on their phones, wanaonaga mara moja, and they're able to react very, very quickly. Now I go to the gentleman from real estate. Unfortunately, I didn't get your name, but I think I got your complaints. Estimates, like I was saying when I was talking about the bills, if you get a bill and it is not okay, and let's say it is an estimate and it is a bad estimate, you can always talk to us and we shall get it worked on. I cannot stand here and tell you there will be no estimates tomorrow, because there's sometimes when we are not able to read, maybe it could be due to a good reason, that maybe the weather or something like that, or sometimes the meter reader, unajua vijana saa zingine vile wako, maybe that day he never read everything, and so we are forced to estimate for us to bill. But like I said, any bill, whether it is estimated or not, that you do not agree with, the moment you receive it, you can always launch a complaint and we shall check it. On our side, we are working to make sure that we read all the meters. The good thing is that now we even have extra people. What has happened in Kiambu, the development has been phenomenal. Our growth has been so much that sometimes it overpowers us. But at the moment we are getting more people, and the estimates are going to go down. But like I said, any bill that you are not happy with, whether it is an estimate or not, please get in touch with us. You said meter replacement, but I think you are talking of retrofitting, changing from postpaid to prepaid. That is what you meant, isn't it? Yes, it is true, this had been stopped. In fact, there is one time the policy was, if you have a flat or one house like that, we only give you 1 meter and you do sub-metering. There was that proposal that was the way we are going to go. It is still there, but it was stopped for a while, and that is the reason why we stopped this retrofitting. we have not yet restarted here in Kiambu, I agree, because like I said, I like talking the truth. Here we have a very high growth rate, and the meters that we have are only enough to satisfy the ones who are applying for new power. So what we are saying, you're asking for retrofitting, there's somebody else who does not have power. So we have been working to clear those ones, and I think probably by the end of this month we shall have cleared that. So this one, come next month, we'll be able to open it, because we shall have enough meters both to serve the ones who are coming in afresh and you who needs to change from one metering system to another. You've talked about the cost of the meters. Yes, it has really gone up. I think now it is something like 7,500. Before, meters used to be so cheap, would absorb the cost, would never even charge you for the meter. But I think you all know what has happened to prices in Kenya. The cost has more than tripled due to the way the shilling has been behaving. And that is why we decided to include the cost of the meter there, because even if it is sub-metering, that is what it's going to cost you. But we only charge you at cost. Remember the cost that we put for our quotations, they're at cost. There is even no markup. If I buy it at 1,000 shillings, I charge you 1,000 shillings. So we are just passing this cost there. So it is for you to really weigh carefully and see how many meters do you really require. Do you need 100, or can you do with a few and you do a bit of sub-metering? But like I'm saying, right now we have the meters. Unfortunately, the cost is now borne by the customer. You talked about this idea of people moving, and sometimes whether we can be providing that service where we are printing so that you come and you get a printout. Here is where we would encourage, we are going digital, and that is where we are coming with this. By the way, nowadays, even the printing of the bills, it is going to become a thing of the past. Like for most of our large power customers, our bigger customers, we are sending them just on email, and that is the way the world is going. So here, please allow us to be, because if we say we are going to print, and we are already moving from that, I don't really see it working. But anytime you want a bill done for you, or you want to know what you owe, you can always come and get that balance. And even with this app, there is a place where you can even calculate the bill yourself. You can just input the figures and it will tell you, if it is this tenant, this is actually how much he owes me, even before you come to Kenya Power. So here, what I would suggest, let's go digital. Wacha tufanye kwa mtandao. Printing, umesikia mwingine ananiuliza about carbon credits. The way we are trying to stop that usage of a lot of paper, cutting down trees and things like that. But we can still give you a service even without printing. You are talking about taking a picture for a meter. By the way, a picture is very good evidence of whatever the state is. Once you've taken a picture, it is very difficult for us as Kenya Power to say, no, it was not like that. It is very difficult for the tenant to say, no, it is not like that. The picture ni msema kweli. So when you give it to us, we keep it there. Because sometimes you find you charge that tenant, na anawapeleka kotini. He takes you to court, and us, we are the second respondents. And we do not have full evidence. Those are the kind of things that save us. Because you'll find you are taken to court something of 5 years ago. That picture is not a waste. We actually save it there, and it stays there as a permanent record. So I would urge you, kwa sababu hizi simu ziko na kamera, piga tu na tutumie. And you can even send us kwa mtandao. You do not have to bring it physically. You are talking about the inspectors and involving landlords. This one, like we said, is one of the take-homes. I talked of vandalism, but there is also electricity theft. Wacha tukubaliane siku hizi kila kitu inaibiwa. It is good for us to say that. Hata stima inaibiwa. And sometimes it is stolen even in your premises by your own workers, and you are not even aware. Sometimes it is stolen by your tenants, and sometimes it is even me and you. And this is one thing that would be one of the take-homes that tuache hiyo maneno. Now, when the inspector comes there, By the way, remember he has a program, just like the meter reader. He has to move over to the next premises. So for you as a landlord to say, no, you have to wait until I come and I see. That is, it is sometimes difficult. And there are people who say they are coming, na ukiuliza anakwambia niko hapa tu. That day you will not do any other job. So that is why we tell them, when you see it, because and you think that there is fraud or the installation is unsafe, wherever power is not used correctly, what we do is we switch it off, because it is safer when it is switched off. He switches off and he seals, and somebody will witness the sealing, meaning that even him now, he cannot get in again to do anything. That locks the evidence. And that is why we tell you to come to the office so that we can sort it out. And let us say that you are even stealing, because we can disconnect for very many reasons. Like I said, it is even safety. Let us say you are even stealing and it is direct. Hata wewe umekubali unaiba. For us, what we have known, the people who do those things is not the customers directly, because many of you here are even afraid of electricity. You do not have the skills, you are even afraid of it. It is usually a third party. So usually what we say, you are just misguided. Huyu kijana alikudanganya ati nitakutengenezea bili yako ikue chini, na kumbe ni amekudanganya. And you ended up using stolen property. We do not treat you like a thief. We treat you like somebody who was wrongly guided. So when you come to our office, there is no penalty. And we do not want court cases. Yes, I agree, theft is a criminal activity. Hatutaki kukupeleka kotini, hatutaki ushikwe, hatutakuitia polisi. Tunataka ukuje kwetu. Sisi vile tunasemaga, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God, and to us render what is ours. Kama ulitumia stima ya shilingi moja na haukulipia, mimi nataka tu hiyo shilingi moja. There is no fine. So we call you, we show you why we think that there was theft there, and we ask you to commit yourself that if we find, because huyu alisema kuna wizi, we shall still send somebody else to confirm that and to confirm how much was lost. He confirms two things. Was there theft? Yes or no? And if in case there was theft, how much was lost? And we'll only charge you for what was lost. So if we find it is power worth 1,000 shillings that was lost, we shall charge you 1,000 shillings. So we only ask you to commit yourself. Let us have an out-of-court settlement that we shall send somebody there. We shall check. If we find there is loss, you will identify us for that loss. Tukipata ni 100, ulitumia hiyo stima, na kweli uliitumia, tutakulipisha 100, utulipe. That is the only thing you sign for. Once you've signed it, we go back, just make sure it is safe for you to use, and we reconnect you. There is no fine, there is no penalty. But I am not saying that we do not take people to court. We do. But that is a perennial offender. Yule anajua. Si tunasemaga makosa ya mara moja, hiyo sio makosa. Makosa ni kurudia. Sasa ni yule atarudia mara kwa mara, hata tumeongea, hata utaki kuniona. I think maybe you let me finish before you ask your next question. So, only take somebody to court who is a repeater. Lakini ya mara moja, we just say you are misguided, you are given the wrong guidance, and we should sort it out. We can sort it out amicably. But as long as you are within the vicinity, the inspector will show you. What I'm saying is that it is usually not possible for them to sit there waiting, because they have a lot of work to, other jobs also to attend to. You asked about the reconnection fee, and this is why I was saying, please pay your bill on time. Because if the bill is not paid in time and it falls overdue, a disconnection order is issued automatically. This is a system thing that it issues a disconnection order. And as long as it is reconnected, you are going to pay that charge, which is 580 if it is a disconnection at the meter. There is a different charge if we have to disconnect up there, but we only disconnect up there for people who are reconnecting themselves. So here I would just urge you, pay on time, because there is that fee. This caters for our cost for reconnection. You talked of temporary ownership of meter. A tenant, yes, can come and contract. They can contract in your name. If you have a premises, it is you to decide. It can be in your own name, it can be in your company name, it can be in the name of the even the tenant. All those possibilities exist. Just come to us. You'll be advised on which documents you need to submit. And if you want to know right now, you'll be guided there. Submit the right document, and it will be changed to whichever name. There was an issue where you said that if somebody has a debt, we disconnect everyone. No, we usually don't disconnect because of a debt. We disconnect everyone if in case we are not given access, which, by the way, I would also tell you it is a crime, but we do not like treating it like a crime. So we only disconnect you instead of arresting you so that you can allow us inside. Sometimes you find we are not being allowed to get in. If I cannot disconnect at the meter box, then I'll have to disconnect at the pole. So the reasons for disconnecting an entire place is either lack of access, or somebody who is reconnecting themselves, or the premises is unsafe. Remember, we also disconnect if the insulation is defective. If it is defective and we feel that it is a danger, we have always said the best electricity is the one that is off. We shall put it off until whichever defects are there are removed, and we reconnect. But we do not do that simply because of a debt. And if it has happened, maybe we can talk out there. Maybe it is somebody who was reconnecting themselves. They were interfering with the supply. Maybe one of the tenants, that's what I mean. There's something you said about a bill higher than the deposit. I did not quite get the question, but did you mean, can I, as the landlord, disconnect the tenant? What I would ask you, usichukue sheria kwa mkono yako. Tell us, we are your partners. Tell us, and we shall come and disconnect. Because remember, you as the landlord, as the owner of the premises, you have the right to tell us to disconnect that power. Disconnection of power is not just due to bills. Hata kama unajenga, tuseme unajenga kwako, you already have power and you are doing, you are expanding, and you feel that maybe where the power is interfering with your mjengo. You can always come and ask us to disconnect the power for safety. Saa zingine kujenga ni uko na nyumba, hata unataka kuibomoa kabisa ili ujenge ingine. You want to do something else. Again, you can always tell us to come and we disconnect the power because you no longer need it, kwa sababu hiyo nyumba ni kubomoa, unabomoa ili ujenge. So you as the landlord, you have the right anytime, na utachukua namba zetu hapa. If you look at a bill and it is not paid, siko kwa jina yako, sema tukate. And even if it is in the name of the tenant, the title deed still shows you, because we only contracted the tenant on the strength that you had agreed. You can come and you tell us disconnect. But not when you are having a rent dispute and the guy has paid and he has no debt with us, na utuambie tukate, hii hatutakata. I hope that is clear. Where there is a debt, we have a right to disconnect. You have the right to tell us, and we have the right to disconnect the tenant. Where there is no debt, I have no right to disconnect a tenant for some third-party issues. The only reason I can disconnect him is on safety grounds that the installation is defective. I hope that answers the question. But don't disconnect yourself because it is unsafe. Okay, then you asked about the bill getting high, even up to 52,000. I agree that that is a problem, and that is why a bill can be wrong in two ways. It can be too high or too low. And we always urge you as our customers, anytime when the bill is high, please complain, and people complain. But also complain when it is too low. When it is too low, please complain. Naona unacheka. Yes, because unajua mimi ni mzuri hata nyinyi mjue vile sisi tunafanya kazi. Hata kama sikukubill last month na sikukubill hiyo month ingine, siku ile nitakubill hiyo nini yote. And when you have to pay that thing all at once, it is not a penalty, it is just what you have consumed. But paying it at once is usually a problem. So when it is low, just come and tell us, and we shall check. Maybe the meter is faulty, maybe the meter reader is not working, but si wewe unajua ulitumia. Wewe tuambie tu. What I have seen some customers doing, wengine, since if they are used to paying 1,000 shillings, hata tukiwapatia bili ya 100, analipa tu hiyo 1,000. But the best is to tell us so that we can see what is the problem. And once we see it, we can correct it. I know, even me, I'm a Kenyan, hata nikipata bill nasema, sawa, Mungu amenionikania, nitalipa tu hiyo 100. Na najua vile nimetumia stima. Lakini nitalipa 100 ama 200. But when I get the bill, it is so much and ends up with me being disconnected. But even with that big bill, you can still come and talk to us. We can see what kind of arrangement we can have. I think hizo ni questions za my brother from the real estate. Sasa kuna hizi zingine which are some are fairly technical from Bwana Chege Dhuku. You talked about our staff coming with IDs, na ukasema pia wakuwe na uniform, wajivae kama wasichana ama wavae nini. Okay, I think the best is a digital identification system, because hizi nguo unaona tumevaa namna hii, by the way we used to give them to customers, lakini zilisimamishwa juzi, as you are aware, because Kenya Power was always branding. Even in such a function, tungekuja nazo na tuwapatie. So not everybody who wears that is from Kenya Power. So I would not want you to use that as the identification. Conmen are very clever. If they know that is what you are expecting, wataenda watatengeneza kama hiyo, and he will look like a Kenya Power person, na atakaa kama nini. He look very genuine, na atakufanyia madhara kabisa. With this system, you know, you are asking for the ID. Remember the ID, I also have my ID here. The ID can also be forged. Siku hizi Kirinyaga Road, anything, Kenya hii kuna vitu mingi. So I will show you an ID with a Kenya Power logo na nini, kumbe it is fake. And with this star 977, if you go there, what you do, utaniitisha ID, si nimekuja kwako. By the way, if somebody doesn't want to give you an ID, don't let him get in. Either the national ID ama staff ID. Akishakupatia hiyo, just take that number, put it in this app, it will communicate into a system, go to our database, and it will identify whether that person is a Kenya Power employee. We also have contractors who work for us. Or even the NYS that you talked about, that time they were put in the system. So you'd actually see this is serviceman so and so, and it gives you the same information. So uta compare ID imesema nini na hii ingine imesema namna gani, na hizi sura zinafanana, because it could also be a genuine ID that has been stolen. Hautajua kama nini. Unajua siku hizi sinasema ukora ni mingi kabisa. Sasa wewe utaangalia hiyo sura uone kama kubaliana. So I would suggest we go more for the system. Kwa sababu hizi nguo tumepeana mingi sana. Ni juzi tu serikali imesema nao maneno ya branding, hii cost cutting ililetwa juzi. Sasa hatuwezi nunua. Otherwise we would buy them and would give them to customers, because this is part of that CSR and good customer relations you are talking about. Tukienda mahali tulikuwa tunapeana hizi maleso na nini. So this cannot really be the identifier. But of course our staff are always in uniform, hata mtaziona, but don't use the uniform alone. Use that system so that you are sure. Especially when you have doubt, remember huko ni kwako, your family is there, na tunajua Kenya vile saa zingine iko. Carbon credits, I did not want to mention such things because they are a bit technical, but now that you've raised it, know that Kenya is one of the countries that has one of the highest level of renewable energy generation. I think we are always above 85%, sometimes at 90%. So the carbon credits we get them as a sector through the ones who are supplying. So I can give you an example like Lake Turkana wind farm, because there we are generating with wind, and it is the biggest wind company in wind farm in Africa. They get carbon credits. So with the PPA, the way it is that the project was satisfied and we get carbon credits. Because they are the ones who build it, the carbon credits go to them. But the deal we have with them is that, you know the way the carbon credits fluctuates. If the market is good and they get more money than was written, the surplus comes to us. And if it comes to us, it is not our money, we are supposed to return it to the community. But I think you know the market has been depressed, so Kenya Power tujapata, lakini najua watu kama our suppliers are getting, and if you become our supplier and you qualify, you will get it. E-mobility is something that is very young. Yes, that might give opportunities for carbon credits. There is something you talked about, wealth creation, and you talked about the energy agency model. You meant this idea of where you buy power from us and you sell to other people, bulk metering. Yes, that is now allowed. Now it is possible for you to do that. If you have a gated community or an area where you operate, you can buy the power at a central point. As we just meter you there and you supply and inside there, but you have to abide by conditions set by the regulator, because they also don't want you, unaweza nunua kwetu shilingi moja na uzie wale 1,000 because they have nowhere to go. So you'll have to have satisfied the regulator, and once you have satisfied us, we shall do it. It is a new thing, we are also getting into it, because that came in the recent tariff review. It is only now that we are beginning to get inquiries. So it is a new ground that we are moving into. So I'll only give you for information that that is possible. Then you talked of waivers and penalties. And like I said, normally us, we do not have penalties. Even when you pay late, we do not charge you interest. There are no penalties. Us, we only recover our costs. So if the bill was 1,000, hata ukikaa sana, tutakulipisha 1,000. There'll be no penalties that are going to accumulate kama ya land rates ama vitu zingine. Itabaki tu vile ilikweko. And because of that, then you cannot expect waivers, because we are charging you for what you consumed. Ulikula ugali na samaki kwa kioski yangu ama ugali na nyama, na hiyo ni 100 shillings, I'm just asking you to pay me 100 shillings. That is why you see that there are no waivers or even discounts, because even our price is regulated. We cannot even change it. I can neither increase it, neither can I decrease it. You talked about Juja. Yes, Juja is an area that is growing very much. Na ukasema ni kama sisi tunaangalia Ruiru, atuangalii Juja. The first thing I will tell you is, once your neighbor benefits, automatically you benefit. How we are feeding the power that was coming to Ruiru, since we have a new power source there, that power is enough even to come up to Thika. It is not that it is meant for Ruiru. That station is so big that that power can come to Thika and we can take it all the way to Ngararia. That is how far it can go. So already you are going to benefit by that station. But Juja was not very badly off, because the lines from Kinakindaruma, Gitaru, the 7 Forks you hear, zinapitaga hapa. And we have already tapped them, and they land at a place, ukienda Weteithie, if you look at the right, you will see a very big station there. That is power from Kindaruma and everywhere. It lands at Weteithie, and from Weteithie it goes to Juja. At the same place, we have a power station. So Juja, you have a power station. You are the only one with a power station around here. So Juja is well served. I can tell you for free, right now, Juja, we encourage you to grow. Na uambie watu kama mtu anataka kuweka kiwanda, anataka kufanya biashara gani in Juja, they can do it. There is adequate power. Like I've said, we have tapped from the dams, 7 Forks, brought it right up to Weteithie. We have generation there, and we have power now coming from KU side all the way up to Juja. It is reaching Juja. So you have no problem of adequacy there. Then for the registration of the electrician, I know that is an ongoing issue. Remember, they used to be registered by IPRA, which is a far much older entity than the NCA. NCA also registered theirs, but I know the two organizations, you know, those are independent of KPLC. I know they are talking to link their databases. so that they have the same entry, because since if you're talking of an electrician, EPRA should not ask for lower qualification than NCA or the other way around. I think they are standardizing, they are harmonizing their entry points, what people need to do, so that you can register in either, and you'll be able to see. The things will be communicating. I know they are working on that. Maybe it has not yet happened, but for me, for the time being, I would say go with EPRA. They have a bigger database. You'll see more electricians there than NCA. NCA has more of the civil people. Most of the electrical ones, virtually all of them are with EPRA. You asked about scrap dealers. There, maybe what I will talk about is the general. I've already talked about vandalism of infrastructure and critical infrastructure, not just for Kenya Power. We have seen roads, road signs, the way they are stolen, bridges. Go to this bridge here, crossing Chania here, you'll see there are no guards, guardrails, zilibiwa zote. It is such a major thing that it's something that has been discussed even at cabinet level, and a special police unit was set up to take care of that. The chiefs have been sensitized, so we even work with Ngao. Those meetings that you are saying that we have, we actually hold them. Maybe in Juja we have not. We're actually in Wetei, the area, Kibute, where we organize with the chiefs and we talk with the people, just to sensitize the people the dangers of vandalism. So we are doing that. As for the scrap method, so what we usually do is, for the residents who would rather meet with the residents and the customers, with the chiefs and the security, the DC's team and the security teams. For the scrap metal dealers, there is another forum for them. And if you remember, there is one time that business had been shut off, just before Honorable Matiang'i left. Alifunga kabisa, they had to register afresh. Na ikaenda chini, na imeanza kupanda. The concerns has already reached the government, and I can tell you for free, not that I sit with the government na nini, but hata nyinyi mnaona hii serikali vile inafanya kazi, vile mliona pombe ikifungwa. If this scrap metal does not, that problem does not stop, I expect a similar action, and they will be forced to register again. We are lobbying for that. Kwa sababu wamekubali uhalifu ingie. When the government was tough on them, by the way, no infrastructure was being destroyed. So they are the ones who are creating the market. Even those boys know. They know what they are supposed to touch and what they are not supposed to touch. As long as nobody is buying it, hawatabomoa. Lakini kama kuna market, wanabomoa. Na market ni yao ma-dealers. And so it is something that is being dealt with. I do not want to appear as if I'm complaining alone, although we as Kenya Power have suffered. Actually, all the infrastructure providers, whether it is Safaricom, the roads, kila mtu ameumia because of this. Hata SGR mliona vile walikuwa wanafanya. Then you have talked of renewable energy. You are wondering how you can participate in that. Like I said, our market is liberalized. All the new players who have come in, like Turukana, these are people who came up with proposals. You come, you see there is this river here, you think you can do something, you propose. In fact, initially you are not even talking with Kenya Power, you talk with the government. If it is viable, you can enter into a partnership. And as long as you are selling at a reasonable rate and we need your power, we will buy it from you. So that avenue is still open. And I think those were the questions. And I hope I have addressed them well. If there isn't, what I would urge you, we are still here, we can engage offline so that we also give other people a chance.
Now, before you sit, I think there were two issues that he addressed. One of them is CSR and also an office in Juja.
Yes, CSR and then?
Office.
Office, and I had written them here. It's just okay. For CSR, we are active there. And usually, like here, I think even like just this weekend, we are planting trees with a group of young people. We like partnering with people like that. Tumekuwa tunapanda miti somewhere along here. There is a program we have been having with Thika Water and other interested parties. So if you have something, you can just talk with this team of ours and we can see how we can partner. It is something that we have been doing, but from the recent, si unajua serikali vile ilisema juzi, wewe lete tu tutajua vile tutafanya. So we have been there. It's just that, si unajua hiyo unafanya tu unamaliza na you don't blow your trumpet. So I can say we have been doing it because we are part of the community. For the office in Juja, let me say what at the moment we are doing. You know, it's good to talk about our plans. We are upgrading Thika and we are even building a new office. So there'll be a bigger, better office here. So honestly, I would not expect an office to come in Juja before this one, because this one will have all the services. The other thing, like I'm saying, many things we are taking them to tunapeleka kwa mtandao, so that many of the services, many of the things that make you want to come to our office, you will never need to come to the office unless maybe you need to consult with me on a very specific matter. But for routine things, what is my bill? I don't have power. I have this complaint. Those ones, we want to take them to the net so that you just report from the comfort of your house. And you only come to the office when you need to meet with me face to face on a specific issue. So going forward, maybe in another 5, 10 years' time, I even see a time when there'll be very few KPLC offices. Because the digital space, by the way, is absorbing very many of the activities that we used to do in the office. So I cannot, that is the future I see. Rather than seeing more offices, I am seeing less. And not just for Kenya Power. It is for virtually all the even the government. You have seen what eCitizen has done, the way we are able to do things from our home that we had to queue and suffer a lot to do. I can see the government is also taking in that line, so that is the possibility that I see. So wacha tutengeneze hii ofisi ya Juja, ya Thika, and then we shall see how things will be. Sorry, I missed those ones.
Thank you. Na tumpige makofi kwa sababu he needs energy. He needs energy, and the only energy we can give him is to encourage him. Sindio? Now we are at midday, which means we are way past time. Two things. One, I would suggest that those who have asked questions, let us not ask for a rebuttal or a clarification. We have the Kenya Power people around. So if there is anything that you still were not happy with in terms of getting the answer you are looking for, you can still have a session with them on a one-to-one after this. So now I will ask for another round of questions. We have 2 hands there. Are you still interested? Yes, 4, 5. So let us get those questions. Now, kama the issues you had intended to ask have been touched, let us also follow like those who have asked. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Timothy Jaga. I'm from KARA-KPLC. First, I would wish to say that I am not complaining. I don't have any complaint. This does not mean that Kenya Power has been doing 100% service to KARA-KPLC, but I can say that we have really no specific complaint. What we may have is those issues that recur on a day-to-day basis, but we don't have a major problem. We have seen very good service and response from them. When we report faults, when people need new connections, we have no complaint. We can only say thank you very much and continue doing what you are doing. My only concern, and they are very simple concerns. Number one is about billing. We know, like in the fuel, every month on the 14th, we get advice from EPRA on what the tariffs are going to be for that month. Kenya Power, for one reason or the other, we are in mystery. We do not know what the charges are per unit. We don't know at what level do they start changing from this tariff to the next. We do not know when they are charging a certain tariff, does it last for a month or does it stay for 6 months? And what are the factors that make it change? Even when we get the bill, it is itemized. Most people, consumers, we do not understand what those items are. We see things called power factor. We don't know what is power factor. We see things you are paying, I don't know, for rural electrification. Yani, what I'm trying to say is that the Kenya Power bill is a mystery to its consumers. And I wish they would take more time and educate their consumers on what they are charging them. I know there is a contract between them and every consumer, every customer. But how many customers really understand their bills? So I wish, even if you don't have an answer right now, but it is something that should be taken up so that as the world becomes more and more open, as we interact more and more, let us understand one another, become more customer oriented than a monopoly that has that attitude of take it or leave it, you have nowhere else to go. So let us try to adopt that. My second point, I have only two, by the way. My second point is the cable network. If you look at, and I'm going to talk about KARA-KPLC for this one, but I know it is widespread, it's everywhere. If you look at the air, you go to KARA-KPLC, I'm sure you know the place, look at the main road, from the Thika Road going to the inside. The air is a mess. There is one cable going this way, there's another one going that way, there's another one going this way. One of them is 6 meters from the ground, another one is 10 meters from the ground. It's actually a mess. And instead of even reducing, it is increasing. You find new cables being put up there. I don't know if there is any intention or any plan to address this, because we cannot continue like that. I think we need to have order there. That if there are some poles going from here to here, they have certain cables. I'm not a technical person, but I would think you are able to take with some cables that when it reaches a certain point, you can distribute from there, so that we do not have every time a consumer needs power, you run a cable all the way from the road. Anytime another one comes, you run a cable all the way from the road. Such that if you count the number of cables at a certain part of the road, you may find about 50. Isn't there a technical way of reducing this and having some order, some neatness in the air? So those are the only 2 points that I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon, sorry. My name is Edward Kiganjo, the Vice Chairman of KARA-KPLC Welfare. I'll just hand 2 or 3 concerns with regard to issues within KARA-KPLC. Number 1, this is a general one. It's about who is in charge of street lighting in terms of repairs and maintenance within residential areas, because we've been having some a team from Kenya Power and another team from the county. So we get confused and we end up in blackouts because we are not sure of who is responsible. Number 2, in terms of new connections, it's been a big concern for our new neighbors who want to get new connections, and especially where you are a bit far from the nearest pole, such that when you want to get connected and maybe you may need an extra or 2 poles, it is very expensive, because it's like you are buying the poles and the lines pay 200,000 for 2 poles, and you'll never own that infrastructure, and you'll be paying for the power used, which is applied through the same lines. And the last one, this is very specific to Kawaskari, and it actually affected quite a number of residents. It's a main power supply line which passes across residential area. It's not actually following maybe the road or something. In fact, there's a friend of mine who cannot pay, sell his 15 million plot because where you are supposed to place the house is where the main power supply line is. And when you go to Kenya Power, we are told that for us to relocate the line, it's I think a bill of 3 to 4 million, which has to be borne by the residents. And it was not their fault. They bought the plot before Kenya Power came to install the lines. So kindly, that's my concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think pass on the mic to, I think that lady at the back there.
Good afternoon. My name is Tricia from Kawasukari. Actually, I'm almost asking what Kiganjo is asking. There was this time Kenya Power, you had given private people to install transformers. Then a transformer is wrongly placed within your plot. Just as he's asking, to remove that transformer, it has become so difficult because of the kind of money one is charged. Yet it is not the owner of the plot's mistake. It must have been Kenya Power's mistake. Hydra, can you assist us on that? I'm not talking of Kawasukari, but that is very common. Transformers wrongly misplaced. Maybe where it is put is where I would want my gate to be. But I can't put the gate because the transformer is there, and removing it is a difficulty. It's difficulty.
Okay, thank you. I think there are two.
God is good all the time. My name is Solomon Mbungu from Kiadutu Residents Welfare Association and a KARA activist. Mine is to congratulate Kenya Power. Kenya Power in our nation is the heartbeat of the nation. If at all we can get a total blackout, every event stops at the spot. Transport services, commercial services, education services, and all services stops. So, congratulations for your work, day and night, 24/7, for your good services. My concern is your contractors, other partners whom you are partnering with, like Wi-Fi, all those internet boosters. We can see them day and night climbing up to your power lines. I can remember one day near my area, I saw people climbing the power line. I asked them, you are not branded as Kenya Power people, who are you? They told me that we are from Wi-Fi, we are boosting internet. Should they be accompanied by, my question is, are they supposed to be accompanied by Kenya Power? Where are those climbing gadgets? Where do they get those climbing gadgets? And they should be supplied and supervised by Kenya Power. That's one. All those power line climbers should be supervised by a Kenya Power branded person to eliminate the conflict breach we consumers and other issues. Because the other thing I'm concerned with is those high meter allocations. Most of them, they have been taken away by some ile nataka kusema hapo clearly, nataka kusema kwa Kenya Power iko wengine wamekaa kama stage wakati kulikuwa na makanga wakati wa Mishuki. Hata kama ni makanga aweke uniform ya kuonyesha huyu ni dereva na huyu ni makanga, kwa sababu wengine wanapanda huko, wengine wanastamba na hiyo meters. Igini niko rafiki yangu aliitwa kwa Kenya Power akaulizwa, mita zako zinaonekana mahali fulani, simeenda huko namna gani? Akasema mimi sina assets huko, kwa sababu hiyo mita ikitolewa huko iende Murang'a itakuwa ikionekana na Kenya Power mahali iko. Kwa hivyo there are some watu wengine kama contractors wanakuja wanakuambia tutakuwekea mita na tutaenda kuchukua kwa Kenya Power. Wanaokota huko wanakuja wanakuwekea na sio yako. Hiyo kitu inafaa yaangaliwe, kwa sababu imeleta a lot of conflict. Kwa sababu kama yangu ipelekewa mtu ambaye ako na posho mill, hiyo pesa yote itakuwa billing yote itakuwa kwangu, kwa sababu ni mimi registered kwa Kenya Power. So that problem should be solved, kwa sababu watu wameanza kuongeza biashara zao huko. Mtu akipatwa na njaa na anajua kupanda huko, alikuwa na contractor akaenda Kisumu, wengine wanawachwa na hiyo climbing gadgets, wanaanza kufanya biashara zao na unjua kali yao kwa nini. So that one should be well monitored and should be given to na kama ni kitu ambaye wanafaa kufanya, iingizwe kwa policy and regulation rules ya kufanya hiyo kazi wanafanya. Mitigating factors and the regulation rules must be put in place ili tuelewa watu ni wakena nani, na wawe very identification iwe iko na branding iwe iko, kusiwe na conflict. Kwa sababu ile nyingine ningeomba ni forum kama hii, that concerns mimi, Kara na wengine. Sasa forum kama hii ningeomba iwe ikaribie wa consumers uko village level, tuwakaribie waseme ukweli na tusikie ukweli mahali iko. Kwa hivyo forums kama hii ni mzuri sana, lakini inataka kukaribia community ili kutiwe na gap between the Kenya Power suppliers and the consumers. Asante sana na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you. I think there is the last person there. Bado uko na swali ama ulikuwa umechukua mkono juu?
Good afternoon members. Kwa jina naitwa John Kimani toka Thika. Swali yangu ni, tuko na rotten posts. How long do you take to replace those posts? Because we have complained, we have written, and you are not coming for service. The other one is a case of damage. How long do you take to pay the damages caused by your electricity? For example, gets burned, and then the case may be taken to by the lawyer to your office. Sometimes your engineers go slow. Like there is a case I was following. The engineer took 1 year, whole year, since the house got burnt. Up to, we followed it to Stima Plaza. That is where the engineer got called by the personnel, and then he forwarded the message, which was needed the whole year. Question is, can you compensate the person without going through lawyer? Because somebody can maybe have no power or to hire a lawyer. That is all those questions from my side.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think we will take two more. Then we will close this session after that.
Hello, everybody. My name is Martin. I think mine is a serious one. It's a personal issue I've had with Kenya Power, and I've given up on them or with them. Maybe there's a chance for me to maybe.
Yeah, be loud with the mic.
I'm saying this is a personal one, and it's like I've given up with Kenya Power. But maybe this is a chance that maybe God has given me for them to redeem themselves. I have a property in Nairobi. I had applied for 11 meters. They gave me 9 meters. Then they told me the 2 are not available. So I had to wait. Maybe after, and it's like now they were not available, and the government said there are no prepaid meters, and I was satisfied with that. And I made my personal arrangements, and I did some metering, as you had said. Then after some time, I don't know, I got a bill of 300,000. And I'm told there are some 2 meters that I was given postpaid, and they are active in my property, and I should pay 300,000. And I'm like, okay, well, you gave me 9 meters. It's on record, but you never gave me 2. They are saying they gave me 2 postpaid that are active. So I have to pay the 300,000 so that I'm able to, so they switched off my power so that I'm able to access power. And I'm like, okay, well, where are the 2 meters? They are saying they have never read them, but they are active. They are giving me estimates. They have been doing estimates for those a number of years, like 5 years. So I'm like, okay, now what do I do? They are unable to sort me and all that. So it has been back and forth. Personally, I have given up. I bought another property in Juja. I'm no longer in Nairobi. I cannot apply for power. I have to use solar, because I have to pay the 300 for me to be supplied with power. So as a Kenyan, I feel I am depressed. So when we are here and we are talking about, I had given up. I said that maybe I thought I would even not talk about the issue. But now that maybe our region, it's not the same region, but you are colleague in the other area. Maybe you can, there's a way you can collaborate and maybe assist me.
Oh, okay. I think that is good. Maybe you will have an answer from Engineer Ezra.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Mugendi, a youth reader in Thika. My concern comes to the data protection area, because each time when we have an issue at the KPLC offices, we leave our details, and later we are being called by conmen and being conned. What are you doing as a team to ensure that our data is protected? Number 2, what are you planning on the populated areas? Because when maybe an area grows, the more the consumption. Are you planning to enlarge the capacity? Thank you very much, and that's all I have for today. Thank you.
I think there was another person who had to ask, but she seems to have left. So I think we will invite Engineer Ezra to come and respond to these questions. And from there, we will close this session for now.
Thank you very much. Naona unaniombea mzuri nikuwe doctor. I'm just engineer. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for those questions. I think again I will take them in the order in which they were given. I start with Bwana Timothy Njagi. Naona ametoka kidogo. Ama vile, maybe I start with yours, Bwana Edward, Kawaskari welfare. And you are wondering about street lighting. Street lighting is a function of the government. The national government took it upon itself to put up this infrastructure. So the national government and the county governments work together. But they engage KPLC as their agent to both install the streetlights and to maintain them. So we work as an agent. So that is the way the position is supposed to be, is at the moment. But in future, when the counties build up their capacity, I think they will be owning that. Because it is infrastructure, they will be managing it. So even when you see a vehicle from the county government, we work together. I know there is the past, in a bit of the past, there was that confusion, but we just had a meeting with them last month, and we agreed on how to do it so that we don't end up confusing you as residents. You just see one team working on that. You talked about designs being expensive, and I would like to own up, the prices have gone up substantially. We were surprised when we went to the market to buy transformers because of the inflation that has been there worldwide, not just in Kenya. The cost of transformers tripled almost at an instant. And by the way, I've kept on mentioning, we do not make money by building infrastructure. We make money by selling electricity. So for infrastructure, whatever we charge you is at cost. If I'm charging you 10,000 for a certain item, let's say it's a pole, I bought it at 10,000. Because all we do is, what we bought it at, that cost is put in our system, and when we are doing a design, it is that cost that is extracted. We do not make any money out of that. And of course, there is always this confusion that you buy it, but it belongs to Kenya Power. No, what you bought belongs to you. This one you have not bought. You have just contributed. We call it capital contribution. I agree it's 100%. That is why it looks like buying. But remember, there is no markup. There is no profit. It is, I bought the thing from Europe, from China, at this cost. I just pass the cost to you. But why we are saying it still belongs to us, it is our asset in our books. And if it fails, it is our responsibility to repair. Meaning that if I put it today and it fails in the evening, I will replace it at no charge to you. So it is not that unanunua na bado ni yetu. We maintain it for the rest of its life there. Then you also mentioned about your friend who has a line on his plot. There was also a similar question there. This is on way-leaf infringement. Again, Kenya Power, Safaricom, all of us, we depend on being given way-leaves so that we can provide our services. And where we have way-leaves and you want us to move, and we are there, once you give us way-leaves, then we are legally there. Once we are legally there, then if you want us to move, that line is moved at your cost. That is usually the way it goes. Unajua mimi napenda tu kusema ukweli. But if we are there illegally, in other words, I am in your property and there is no evidence I was ever given allowed to be there. In other words, we are trespassing. We are just like any other trespasser. You come to us, and once we see that that line was installed and procedurally by us, we shall remove it at our cost. So if we are there legally and you want us to move, you pay. If we are not there legally, we pay. So in that case, all I would advise your friend to do is to just produce the evidence, since he seems to have evidence that Kenya Power ndio alimpata hapo and he never gave any permission. He can just go to our offices, give that, and if it is the case, it will be done on at our cost. If it is not, then he'll have to bear the cost. That's what I'm saying. I like telling both sides of the story. Yeah. And I think I have addressed your questions. Bwana Timothy, I wanted to start with you when I realized you are not there. Nikasema nianze, yes, no, it is okay. Wewe umesema haukuwa na shida mingi, lakini umeongea first of all about the bill being very complicated. And yes, I agree. I agree with you 100% that if you look at that bill, it actually takes an expert, and there are people now that is their work. Wanafanyaga hizo to interpret the bills. But that is why I also like these forums, because we can get to exchange knowledge. In fact, that is why we also like this partnership with you as residents associations, because we might not get a chance to meet all your members, but we can be coming and meeting you as a resident, as the people who are running that association. Either you are the chair or that committee, and we can tell you about such things which you can also, because if I can explain it to you until you understand, then you become a very good teacher. You will be able to explain to somebody much, much better. Sometimes when I try to explain as an engineer, I use some terms which people cannot even understand. So sometimes we like working through Residents Association to explain that. The bill is complicated because we are regulated. And it is the regulator and the government that insists for transparency, we have to put everything there. And we have tried to argue on behalf of the customers. Why can't we just have a simple bill that is constant, that people can, anybody can understand? That you just know the price of power is 10 shillings. And it is 10 shillings for all this time. But the government has always felt, no, we want you to be transparent to the people. You outline everything, because for the large customers, the ones who have engineers working for them, they understand those bills very well. But we don't serve those ones only. We serve also the residents. So that is why we are forced, even the way the bill is, it is something that was regulated and we cannot change it. Then you are asking about things like these charges which keep on varying. Do they vary for 1 month, for 1 year, or like that? Now, for the bills, what I would say is that we have charges which are fixed and charges which are variable. Remember, I stated our charges are regulated, meaning it was agreed by the regulator, and we cannot charge a shilling more or a shilling less. Now, some things, their cost is known. So it is variable and it is accounted there, because the bill takes care of the cost of the ones who are generating, like us who are distributing, and something for the future, and a bit of profit to give it back to the shareholders. And that one is locked. But it is known that some things vary. For example, the rate of the dollar. Unaona ilienda juu, iliteremka, imeanza kwenda juu tena. Fuel prices also vary. So the way the tariff was written is that those ones will be varying, and we shall be changing them every month. And it is the same EPRA, the one that you are saying that gives us those fuel charges on 14th, they are the ones who approve that. So it is normally there in the Kenya Gazette. But for ours, they never advertise in the local media. They just put it in the Kenya Gazette. So if you wanted to see the charges, you'll always see them, because they vary every month, and either upwards or downwards, and they are gazetted every month. And we cannot charge a shilling more or less. But inside there are also some charges which take like 6 months. Like the charge for inflation, it's a very, very small one. You have to allow for time before it varies. Again, all that is regulated. We do not change it ourselves. In fact, the data comes from somebody else, because we are not the ones who calculate the inflation in the country. It would be the National Bureau of Statistics. They get the data, it is put in a formula, EPRA can see it, and then they tell us this is what we are going to charge, and it is gazetted. Then we put it in our tariff engine, our billing system, so that it calculates for that month. So it is there, it is just that it is not there in the newspapers for you to see, like the way you see fuel, but it is always there. So I hope I've answered you that the bill is very complicated. We would prefer a simpler bill where we just put one charge. In fact, what we were saying, even those variable charges can be averaged of a year. So that for 1 year, unajua mwaka huu bei ya stima ni hii. Depending on how they varied, we can change it for the next year. There are some utilities in other countries that operate like that, but yetu, watu walisema wanataka kuona kila kitu. Because they were saying, that one where we just give you a charge, we might hide some things down there. So it is for the purposes of transparency, but unfortunately, like you say, it brings confusion. But vile nimesema, this is a very good forum, so even after this, I would want you to meet my team there, who will explain to you as a committee, can arrange to explain to you as a committee, and if your members are asking, you can also be a resource person to just help them also understand. Then, so you also mentioned that you talked about customer education, so that is a way we can educate customers, and we are always very willing to come to your meetings. We are very willing to come to your meetings, so that if you have a residence, you as the residents of KARA-KPLC, you're having a residence meeting, na mmeona maneno ya power imezidi sana, na imekuwa, you can invite us as resource people. We are very, very much willing. Hata mkitaka tutukuje hapo, tutuweke hema, so that anybody who has a question can talk to us, even as you are going on with your meeting, we are ready to do that. That is one way we partner. Now, umesema, nowadays you see very many cables, the air is a mess, there are too many cables. And I agree. I also agree. Na hiyo ningependa mnipate vizuri sana, because it is a question Bwana Solomon here who also asked. Now, all those cables you see do not belong to Kenya Power. What I would say, as Kenyans, we have been very successful and we are becoming victims of our own success. Hizo mingi unaona ni za fiber, ni za internet, sio ya power. Mkubwa alisema mambo ni mangapi? Si alisema mambo ni mangapi? Matatu. Waya zetu huwa 3 peke yake, kama vile mkubwa alisema. Our wires are only 3 and they are very big. You can see them. Anything you see down there is not ours. Some of those poles are not even ours. Because people, especially during COVID, people working from home, they needed internet services. Kina Safaricom, they came and they started giving the services. So the first people were Safaricom. Then it was liberalized. Now we have very many players who are providing fiber. So hizo makebo zote unaona hivyo, hizo ni za fiber. Sio zetu. They also bring problems to us because sometimes they are below our line. Hata kupanda kufikia line yetu inakuwa shida. We had a meeting with them the other day because even for them they are having a problem because there are so many players. That is why you find where unakuja, you are for company A, I lay my fiber to your house. Your neighbor, Bwana Edward there, goes to company B, he has to lay a fiber like that. Zinakuwa mingi sana. But now there is sanity coming in. If you look at the cables, they are now being color coded. Safaricom wakona color yao, wananchi, Zuku, kila mtu, and they are going to be using fewer and fewer cables. So those are more for internet, not for Kenya Power. Na sukari najua zimeja. I'm glad that you are saying that you have good supply in sukari, and like I can tell you, you are the beneficiaries of that substation that I mentioned, which is next to Kenyatta University. Now you have a dedicated line to sukari. We have a line that starts there at Kenyatta University. You can imagine where Kenyatta University is. It goes to sukari and it does not come out. So it's a very short line. It only serves you. The only thing I ask, sukari is one place where we have had a problem with trees. And I hope you take that to your residents, what we've talked about trees. That watu wanakataa tukate, even when the tree is dangerous. So mnaweza weka kwa mtandao yenyu, watu ruhusu. And they can work through you. They can work through you. That nyinyi ndio mkwe mnatuelezea. If somebody feels he has a dangerous tree, he can talk to you as the members of the Residents Association. Mnaweza weka in your WhatsApp, and then you can talk to us. And we can arrange for a date when we can come there and we clean up the place in a good way. So I think I've answered that is number 1 and number 2. There was a question from Mama there about a transformer which is wrongly placed. or a pole that is placed where you want to put your gate, that is the same one I was talking about where lives. Kama tuliweka kwa makosa, so if you have such a case, just bring it to us. Tutaangalia. Kama tuliweka kwa makosa, kama makosa ni yetu tutaitoa. If we are rightfully there, we'll remove it, but at your cost. So it is always good to know that there are those two things. But come to us so that we can check. And if you feel it is wrong, you can always give us the evidence. Na hata sisi tutaangalia upande yetu, because we always have the documentation to show that we are supposed to be there. And I hope that has answered that question. Bwana Solomon ameuliza even about our contractors and Y5. Our contractors, yes, they come there. And like I said, you have a way of identifying them. Hawa Y5, hawa ni watu wa fiber. Hiyo ni fiber, hiyo nimetaja. Kuna hizo poles unaona ni kama poles zinakaa kama zetu lakini sio zetu. Some have come and have put up their poles and connected their fibers. Others, we have allowed them to use our poles. Unfortunately, tuko na wengine wamekuja wamenyemelea kwa laini zetu, kwa poles zetu na wameweka hizo. Tukipata hizo sisi watu tunabomoa. Lakini ile ingine sio mali yetu, it is property that belongs to somebody else, which we really cannot interfere. And remember, they are giving internet services for our young people who are very, very active on the internet. Then there is the issue of the stolen meters. I think I talked about that when I was talking about quacks. Somebody who is a quack, the materials he uses are stolen. It means it is, haezi kuwa alipata hizo materials legally. They were meant for somewhere else, amedivert kwako. Na hata meter most likely will be a stolen meter. Shida ya meter, it is so well documented we can see how it moved. And that is why you say you found your meter is going to a certain posho mill. Iliibiwa kutoka kwako, ikaenda kwa posho mill. And the danger is, ikiwa kwa jina yako, wewe ndio tunajua. Na kukikuwa na deni, wewe ndio tutalipisha. So again, we always urge people, because theft of meters is there. It is there. And that is why we are always asking you, we've been telling you right now, be identifying the people. Mtu anaweza kuja anasema nimetumwa kutoka Kenya Power, ni check meter kwa meter box yako. Kumbe amekuja kuiba meters. Anaiba meter yako, anaenda anaekea mtu mwingine. But in our system, hiyo meter ni yako. Kwa hiyo deni ni yako. So ikiibiwa, the moment a meter is stolen, just like your phone or anything, go to the police, report, get an OB number, tulete, so that the case is documented. To prevent misuse of that. I hope you get that. Kwa sababu hata ikienda kotini, by the way, you are legally liable. But if you have gone to the police, whether it is your phone or it is your meter, and at least you reported, now people know any misuse that is occurring from the time that this person reported. It is not you. Lakini saa zingine watu wanasemaga, ni shauri ya Mungu. And unajua wakora, wataiba vitu zako and they'll do very strange things with them. So but if you don't use quacks, if you always come to us, there is no way a stolen meter will be put in your premises. It is a quack who will do that. And Bwana Solomon finished with a very good sentence, be close to the community. We believe in that. That is why we are here today. We are also part of the community. Tumelelewa hapa, we have grown here, we are not strangers. So we are here to serve you as brothers and sisters. So hiyo ni kitu tumeamini kabisa. Bwana John pale ameongea about a rotten pole na ameandika and nothing is happening. I think you'll just give us that report, and I assure you, the moment you report, we will deal with it. And that app, that number which I gave you today, you can actually report using that one, and there is a permanent record, which everybody, including the MD, will be able to see. Na ataona kama tumetimiza ama hatujatimiza. Then you talked about the case of damage. Na ulikuwa unaongea stima kama imechoma kitu. There are two types of damages. There is a damage which we cause when we are working in your place. Hiyo tunalipa kama tunatengeneza laini, kuna watu wa hili wanakujaga na wanaangalia na unalipwa. If it is something that your property that has been damaged, you can always report to us. We have insurance that takes care of that. Tutachukua hiyo claim, tutapeleka kwa insurance, and not everything has to go to court. quite a number the insurance wanaweza sort out by themselves. Lakini sasa huu ukienda kotini kwanza, kama kesi iko hapo, then we have to sort it out in court. I hope umenielewa. So what I would say as a first resort, kuja kwetu. And I think even that is what the judiciary is always trying to say nowadays. Try to sort matters out of court because they stay too long in court. Kuja kwetu. Tuone kama tukubaliani ama ukubali vile tumekuelezea, that is the time you go to court. But many of the times we are able to sort out because like I say we have insurance. Ni kama tu gari, if you are insured ikuwa an accident, the insurer pays up to a certain amount. So if you are happy with that, the matter is sorted. If you are not, that is the time you go to court. Here, Martin, kweli, it is personal, and I don't know why you don't have power in Juja because of the other problem. What you'll do, you'll just talk to us after this. Wacha tuonane after this. That is a matter we can sort out very easily. We shall know why you never got those extra meters. Na hiyo ingine kama iko kwa jina yako, iko wapi? It could be a stolen meter again. It was stolen even before it was put. It is possible. But utaangalia na tujue where is it generating that bill from. Yeah. Na kama kweli bill ni yako tutakwambia. Si nimesema sisi tunapenda ukweli. If you owe us 300 tutakwambia it's 300. If you owe us nothing we shall remove it. Si nimekwambia tutaongea pale. We are not talking now. You know that is so personal, that's why I did not want to address it. Yeah. But I was saying suluhu tutapata. Now that you've raised it we shall get a solution. Then, unfortunately, the last gentleman who talked of being called by conmen, sikushika jina yako, and you are asking about how safe is our data, and also about what we are doing about populated areas. Okay, the first thing I would say is one, and this is just general. If anybody, even me, si leo mmesikia mimi naitwa Engineer Denderu, hata siku ile nitakupigia nikwambie unitumie pesa kwa M-Pesa yangu ama namba ingine ati ndio upate huduma gani, usifanye hivyo. You have the pay bill of Kenya Power which is here, you can get it from our website. Either you pay to our pay bill or you pay in the office, because if the thing is legal na nakwambia ati unitumie, hata ukilipa kwa ofisi, and remember for us you can pay in any office. Hata ukikuwa Mombasa na unataka kulipia stima yako Juja, you can pay in Mombasa. Once you pay in the office, you are very, very safe. I agree, conmen have infiltrated us. Kuna hawa vijana who are very tech savvy, hata uwezi jua anapata information namna gani. Sometimes we suspect they work in cahoots with some of our staff who are unscrupulous, because you apply for power, alafu unasikia mtu anakuita na anasema anaitwa engineer so and so, na yuko na kazi yako, nitumie, niko tu hapo karibu, nitakuwekea nini. So akikwambia yuko hapo karibu, muulize karibu wapi, na usiseme mimi naishi Sukari, wewe muulize karibu wapi. You'll realize he has no clue where you stay. Hata hajui. But the moment he mentions money, and money to either his phone or a third party, know you are dealing with a conman. It is a very serious problem. Hata tumelete DCI, we have involved very serious people in the government. Tujue, how do those guys get that information? And they get it very quickly. Wako na haraka na wako na namba mingi. They keep on changing those numbers. So they bother us. Hata mimi mwenyewe nishapigiwa. I've also been called because they don't know who I am. Na wanaongea mzuri sana. Ukipata simu kama hiyo, either they are telling you they'll push your work, ama wanakuambia ati kwa hiyo shamba yako wataweka transformer and they'll be paying you something. Jua unadanganywa. And they'll have very official looking documents. So I agree, hiyo maneno ya conmen imezidi kabisa, but protect yourself the way you protect. Kama hizi unatumago za M-Pesa na hawa wanakupigia simu, don't send money to somebody you do not know. If there is payment, kuja kwa ofisi. And like I said, we have channels that you can pay us, so that if that is really the value charge, you pay through the channel, itatufikia. It's a big problem. It doesn't affect Kenya Power alone. It affects, I think, in the digital space, kunao watu wamejua vile wanafanya, so it is actually quite a big issue. Then, what is the plan for populated areas? What happens? Kenya Power, you know, as we are a commercial company, so we charge commercial rates. But there is a company, there is REREC, who is our sister agency. So in the rural areas, they do build lines to supply public facilities. And when that line is brought close, it means even the community there can benefit. It is normally done through the MPs. So kama ni uko nyumbani, hamuna stima na nini, you can always approach your MP so that they talk to REREC, kwa sababu kuna pesa inatoka kwa serikali that is meant for that purpose. So that is one way. Two, we also have donor agencies. Kuna hizi zinaitwa last mile schemes. We had received a lot of funds. I think there were some negotiations, funds ziliisha, but I think the government has negotiated and we are going to get other funds. Remember, those are government funds. It is funds that the government gets, and then they give us as an agent to connect to you. So those are the ones we use to reach the people who have not been reached. Of course, the third way is commercial. You come to us, we give you a quotation, and you pay. So normally that plan is a government plan. It is not so much a KPLC plan. For REREC, like I say, you can go through the MP. Last mile, when it comes, when it is there, you just come to us. Because usually the government tells us, we have given you so much money for Kiambu, show us the projects that need to be done. Na mkikuja, even the way we are engaging, you can propose projects, we cost them, tunapeleka kwa government. Once they are approved, then we can spend that money and we can connect you. And I hope that is clear. And if I am not wrong, that was the last question. Thank you. Did I miss yours?
No, she didn't answer.
Oh, okay, sawa. Okay.
You missed the opportunity. I don't know whether we should, unless it is very, very, very burning. Yes. If it is not cross-cutting issue, let us do that after this session, please, because we are way past time, and I want to thank Engineer Ndenero for giving us really good feedback, and I was actually underestimating the team here, and they have been so rich in terms of questions and rich, and thank you very much, people. I think I have two comments before we now invite Mr. Kinodi Wamongi to give us the closing remarks. And one is, do we have dedicated teams in regions whereby we know that this team is covering specific areas, and therefore the people who are here, they can have dedicated teams, and also probably add them. I heard you talk about WhatsApp groups. I don't know when you say WhatsApp group, whether they are a WhatsApp group created by Kenya Power or the WhatsApp group of the specific associations or group of people, and how can they be in one team? The second one that I had said is, and I know your team had asked that they give us a quick explanation on this app. Maybe we should allow them, I don't know how much time they need, 5 minutes, so that we understand this, because I know there have been people who have been having challenge of this star 977 hash, and also this other number, the 97771, and response to it. Because, you know, many of us are sometimes affected by this artificial intelligence approach where there are no human interface. So I think Florence had said these two things, and possibly also we want to be happy to know your number.
Okay, very quickly, the WhatsApp that I was talking about are the ones we have set up. We set up ourselves. So we set you because we know how we are supplying power, and we shall tell you, yes, we have dedicated officers, and we shall share. So utajua Ruiru, yule ana deal na maneno ya stima, kupotea ni nani. Yule ana deal na bills ni nani. Yule ana deal na new connection ni nani. We can share like that. Yeah. So we were not talking of the WhatsApp groups that you have as residents association, unless you want us to join. But sisi tunasema zile which we cluster our customers, tunajua vile laini tunawapatia, so tutaweka pamoja, because you know you'll have common problems. So we have those ones, and where they are not adequate, we can set up more. So I think with that, Florence, wanataka demonstration ya star 977, and I think the best is mfanye pamoja. Wanafanya kwa simu kama unafanya. I think we only need 5 minutes for that. Okay, Shika, you take us through.
Afternoon again. So there's a leaflet that you are being given. At the back, we have instructions on how we are going to go about it, but tutafanya kwa simu. So we are going to use our Safaricom line. We don't have access to Airtel, so we use our Safaricom line, and it has to have credit. Less than 10 shillings, less than 10 shillings to do the whole thing. Per SMS is 15 shillings. No. You need about 10 shillings for us to go through the whole program. Yeah. So let's use our lines. Let's dial star 977 hash with Safaricom lines, please. Kwa simu zetu. Tumeweka? Okay, sasa. Star 977 hash. Karenye, nisaidie hapo. Kwa hao. 997 hash. Star 977 hash. Itatuambia welcome to Kenya Power. So the first thing that I want us to do is to know whether you have Kenya Power staff. Imetuambia hapo, welcome to Kenya Power. Let's go to number 5, Jua for sure. So number 5 will assist us to know whether you are dealing with a fraudster or a Kenya Power staff. So you need to have 2 things. ID number, the national ID number, and my staff number. So we are going to use my staff number and my ID number. So select one for employee. Then let's key the staff number. My staff number is 52165. 52165. 165. My staff number is 52165. And the my ID is 23. 52165. 2306 672. 2306 6712. So it will say that Florence Kenyui is a staff is a staff. Huh? The staff number. I redo the staff number again. I was 52165. The ID is 2306 6712. Has it confirmed that I'm an employee of Kenya Power? Okay. So, no name. So 52165. 2, 3. Imeenda. Okay, bad. Sasa. So let's go back. Cancel, let's go back again. Let's do star 977 hash. And then now I need us to report power failure. How do we report power failure? Because that's one of the major issues that we have with our customers. We are not reporting for power failures. We need to know how to report for power failures. So let's redial the number again, star 977 hash. Then we go to option number 4. So at the power failure, we have 3 instances that you can report. Number 1 is the power failure. Number 2 is safety. And number 3 is staff misconduct. So I want us to report power failure. Tumefika hapo? So let's select number 1 and then number 4. Select number 1. We have 2 ways of reporting. Either we use a or we use a prepaid meter. So we requested to key in a postpaid meter number or a prepaid meter number. So once you key in your prepaid or postpaid number, then you write the type of vote, Apple. Then from us, we'll be able to see the complaints. And we urge all the residents to kindly tell your customers, report wakuwa kwa wingi, so that now you can be able to capture the complaints. Tuko sawa hapo? Let me respond to that question. For the option number 2, where you have the postpaid services, you can query your bill using option number 1, My Bill. 2, you can pay your bill. The beauty about this program is that once you key in your account, you don't have to remember the account. The program will retain the account there. And then once you key the account, you key the amount of the to pay. Then it will take you to your M-Pesa so that you can key in your M-Pesa PIN. So you don't have to claim a pay bill number. Then option number 4 is supposed to address the bill estimates. We urge our customers to be setting, to be a self-reader. So that now you can be able to get accurate bills, so that now you can be able to make payments on time. So option number 4 for self-reading, you can register to be sending bills on monthly basis, reading on monthly basis to Kenya Power. Well, for prepaid services, you can opt to buy your tokens using the star 977, and when we don't send the tokens back on time, you can query using option number 2 for the latest tokens. So you don't have to wait for the messages or you come over to Kenya Power to query. You can request through star 977 and we'll send the token number to you.
I think you are better in that tech. Huh? Is that what you call the app? There is an app also, or this? I think it is good to mention about the app.
Okay, we have an app that you can download from App Store or Play Store. For those who have App Store, you go through the App Store. For those with Play Store, you go to the Play Store. It's called My Kenya Power App. You can download it. This one we don't charge for the bills request. We don't charge at all. We can also use it to also raise a complaint. We can also use it to track your new connection progress. You don't have to come to Kenya Power to inquire where we are with your new application. You can also be able to have data on where you are going to have shutdowns, and you can report power failure through that. You can also get your last 5 bought token using My Power app. So it's a better facility when you download it, and it is a free charge for as long as you have your data on. You're able to use it and get all the data that you need from Kenya Power.
Okay, thank you, Florence. And I think we can close the sessions up to there. And now it is my pleasure to invite Kinuthia Wamongi. He is an elder from Thika. I think we are familiar with him. He was one time the chair of the Transition Authority, and he has been a very active member of KARA, and I think also an active member in Thika. So welcome, Kinuthia Wamongi, for your closing remarks.
Thank you, Engineer Geche Karanja, MCA, former, and my friend. First of all, let me say it's a very, very great honor to be given an opportunity to make closing remarks in my own place of residence. Let me acknowledge Mr. Ephraim Kanake, I believe the leader of this team from KARA, the CEO, Mr. Henry Ochieng, and most obviously, the coordinator, Honorable Geche Karanja, and also appropriately Engineer Ezra and Ndero. And my dear residents of Thika and Kiambu. Before I continue with any remarks, I want to know who is, or whether we have a representative from Kiboko Residents Association. Do we have any? Kiboko Residents Association? Mr. Ochieng, I want to apologize because I promised you that I had made a very vigorous campaign to make residents of Kiboko Residents Association to come in big numbers. I know our chair, the chair of the executive committee, was going for a funeral, and she had told me she had appointed an official representative. So if they are not here, I will now act as the official representative of Kiboko Residents Association. So those who are recording say Kiboko Residents Association was represented by me. And I'm here in a very substantive capacity of the chairman of Council of Elders of Kiboko Residents Association. So this is a council of former chairmen of Kiboko Residents Association who, once you leave your position as a chairman of residents, you join the Council of Elders. So now we become the advisors of the executive committee. I have been a chairman of Kiboko Residents twice, and I'm the chairman of the Kiboko Residents Association. So you can see here we are very appropriately represented. Number two, let me say, just I have been introduced by the engineer, that maybe for the last 12, 13 years, I've been associated with KARA, both as a member and as a consultant. And this journey we have traveled together. And this far we have come. And we are still going to go further. I believe in KARA.
And there's a time when we went everywhere educating people on what is to come, on devolution. It was very surreal that I went to Kisumu, I went to Kakamega, I went to Eldoret, I went to Embu, accompanied by Henry. We went to all these people together. We went to Mombasa, we went to Garissa, we went to so many other places, telling people this is the way devolution will play out in Kenya, and this is the way we as residents associations are going to behave. And even we went to Bungoma and Busia. This is the way residents associations should behave to the new governments as county governments. Little did I know that I was going to be the one to be selected by President Kibaki to lead that process of midwifing devolution. So I was also practicing probably for the interview, because when I went for the interview, I did very well because I already knew the system very well as a lawyer, and I was picked as the chairman. Now, when I was talking to Henry yesterday, I was rang him to cancel my presence here, but he said, no, but I've already put you in the program. At that time, I had an urgent matter to attend to today, but by this morning, it had become an emergency. So it is still an emergency, but I had to cut short. I did what I could before I came, and I'm going to pick from where I left once I leave here. But because of the loyalty I have for Kara, Mr. Kanake, I still had to come and do my duty allocated to me. Yesterday, when I was, it was hinted to me that I'm going to give the closing remarks. I reflected on where we have been with Kara. We have been to Kahawa Sukari. I don't know whether you saw us there, whether you saw me there, or you are a new resident. We have been to Kiambu town, where we also, it was a forum like this for the entire Kiambu. We have also been here in town, somewhere in the valley, in Thika. What I must say that all those other forums before were more and better subscribed by numbers than today. And yet, I thought today was truly, those ones were just civic education. Today is not civic education. Today is engagement. And you are given an opportunity like this. My people, I was in Nairobi, the first one I think, that was in Nairobi. I attended from the beginning up to the end. I can tell you the caliber of the people who are there, the diversity of the people represented, and even the managing director himself of Kenya Power was there. So when you are given this kind of opportunity of engagement, not civic education, engagement. I know in our mtandao in Kiboko, what we say, nani amepoteza sitima? Then all of us have to say, mine is yangu imepotea, yangu imepotea. And they are given the opportunity to come and explain here, to ask questions, they don't come. How many others are like Kiboko residents who have and face these problems? And when they are given this chance, they don't. So that's why I decided at my own discretion, Mr. Kanake and Ochieng, to now do civic education. You talked of civic education. And I said, today I will do civic education about public participation, because I'm the one who devolved the function of civic participation, number 14 of Schedule 4 is one of the is one of the devolved functions. And probably people don't realize that when you are invited for civic education, there is a purpose. I mistakenly thought that because I carried the cover, I had carried the spectacles, but I'm wrong. So I'll try to to go through some notes that are here. Oh, I see. You know, Wanangeche, when you grow old, you don't even remember that you had the spectacles. You look for them when they are in your eyes. That is, now you can see, I thought I had left them at home. So here we are saying, public participation, and I said this is now civic education. I said that is going to be my closing remarks by giving a small education on public participation. The MCA here knows very well what it all means. Public participation is about the involvement of those who may be affected by or interested in a decision through formal or informal channels. I said channels. Public participation is the process where individuals, governmental and non-governmental groups influence decisions making in policy, legislation, service delivery, like today we are doing service delivery, oversight, and development matters. Direct involvement suggests that citizens are the owners of government and should be involved in the decisions of the state. So we are also the owners of Kenya Power, and that's why we are here. In our context, public participation is the direct exercise of the sovereign power bestowed to the people of Kenya by Constitution Article 1. Article 1 says, all the sovereign power of Kenya belongs to the people of Kenya, but it can be delegated to different authorities. The Constitution has declared public participation as one of the values and made it a mandatory requirement in all governance and development processes, policy making, budget making, resource sharing, environmental protection, and policing. So, Kenya Power, congratulations. Because you really, you know, we are all by Article 232, state officers, state agencies, and government departments are bound by the Constitution and the values. So you have really embraced that aspect. And for that, I congratulate you, because watching you now 2 times, you have fully embraced the issue of that value. The devolved system of governance leverages participation as the mainstay of governance and development in Kenya. So if you don't participate, then there is no governance, because nothing should be done in Kenya by any state agency or by any government without your permission. And that's why there has to be, you have to be asked and you have to agree. Now, in the last decade, the Kenya courts have given public participation a great deal of prominence. This has left many actors asking an important question: what is the threshold of public participation? That is answered in the decisions of courts. Those who belong to waterworks, you remember in 2017, the governor of Kiambu wanted to merge. Of course, when I MCA, you are there. They wanted to merge all the waterworks into one company, including privately run or community waterworks. I personally went to court and sued Governor Waitito. And this suit of mine was also enjoined with community organizations also joined us. I talked about it in Kahawa, if you remember when I came. We won that case. And the government said there was no public participation. Up to now, Thika Waterworks is free, and nobody has dared to join those companies. So it can be done, and we have done it. We have tested the issue of the public participation. And I'm saying Kenya courts have defined very well in those decisions, if you get one, what public participation does. But more, it's not done for me, it's done for every one of us, to give you that right, which you do not know that it existed. So you have a right to demand, to ask, And these questions which you are asking here today are relevant. It is your right, and you should get the right answers. And I think today we have a very educated engineer who has answered everything in a very right way, a very educated lady who took us through that process, and we shall go home. Even if I can see like they have prepared some food. Even if we didn't eat, we would go full satisfied that we have learned something today and we have our answers. So go and take that message to those who didn't come, and if possible, and if necessary, if you could come again at some future time, we shall be the beneficiaries and we shall say thank you. Now, while the judiciary has not provided the specific standards which should actually be the role of Parliament, various courts have pronounced themselves that public participation, listen to this, various courts have pronounced themselves that public participation must be genuine and substantial, not mere formality. Now, the court, you are this matter is in the public court. It's in your hands. Has Kenya Power been here just for a formality, or have they genuinely given you the right attention? Public participation ought to be real and not illusory, and ought not to be treated as a mere formality for the purposes of fulfillment of the constitutional mandate. So that is what the courts have said. And I think in addition to that, we alluded here and we said there is need, or it says also here, there is need to upscale civic education and capacity building through CSO and government partnerships. Now, that came from Engineer Ndedero. So with the two, we can ask ourselves, have we met that mandate, you know? Because engineer said that. And the issue, like it came the idea of, I think somebody talked about trees in Sukari. So I think you got some civic education on trees. And in your association, you are going to say, there is need to cooperate with the power because the trees cannot grow below power. There is a seedling that was planted by my son, who is above 40 now. It had grown high and it was almost touching the power line. The power line, these power people came and they cut it. They didn't quite cut it down. They pruned, but in an awkward manner. And my wife came and said, I'm very bitter. They have spoiled Baraka's tree because it used to be very... So my wife is not satisfied that you cut that tree without consulting her because it belongs to her son and she was very sentimental about it. However, we couldn't allow ourselves to get into danger just because Baraka is loved by the mother. There has to be some reasonableness in doing things. So, as I had to conclude, it is important to establish realistic and practical public participation goals that have been accepted by all stakeholders to harmonize the public expectation. Making promises that cannot be kept will undermine public confidence in the public participation process. What we can ask, and this is our question and the final question, has Kenya Power met this threshold? I'll use my own example. When I was in Nairobi, I made a case for a post that is behind my house. And that it was actually put purposely because I requested to be put there. Ikawekwa taa, and then sooner or later, thieves stole that taa. And for the last maybe 7 years, it has never been, hiyo taa haijawekwa. And that place is used for illegal and immoral purposes, so Even Kiboko, we have put inaitwa nini CCTV, and we cannot see what happens there if there is no light. So I thought the people who promised in Nairobi would have made well that promise which they did, because they took my number, very well, very enthusiastic. So they should have done it before you came. But you see, they have done nothing, and they have given me an opportunity to say that, or to ask you, are these just public relations exercises you are doing, or are they real? And I'm saying, let these instructions be action-based, these interactions be action-based and solution-giving, not mere public relations exercises. This is addressed to you, engineer. We want to see action. You have promised people here. How soon can that be done? And so that we want to know. Then now, as my final thing, I can say, if you do that, don't just say, don't just do and keep quiet. You see? Use your successes and your responses as what we call bragging rights. I am the one who promotes people by making them bragging rights. Kama umesoma, si umesoma. Sema, I'm a doctor, I'm a PhD, I'm that. If I'm Waweru, I'm the owner of Coconut Grill. We have done that, you know. Those are called rights. And this is our first heaven. So this is the only place where you can brag. So brag about solutions you have given to the people through these interactions. So that now people can take that message to all other people and say, hawa watu hapa yaani, wakiwaambia watafanya, watafanya. Thank you everybody for listening to me.
Thank you very much. As the MCA, I will ask that we clap for him properly. He's an elder, and he has also a right to brag. And the only way to brag is for you to clap for him. Asanteni sana. I think that we have finalized. There is an item there that was the issue of the way forward. We didn't talk about it because the way forward was very clearly indicated by Engineer Ndendero. There will be interaction if there are any questions that you have. But I think for me, the first important thing, in addition to the take-home that we got, is that you'll get that presentation through KARA, so that you can remind yourself on the take-home that Engineer Ndendero had given us. The other one is that make sure that in your local areas, you are in the WhatsApp group that Kenya Power has created. At the same time, I'd asked that Engineer Ndendero tells us, because in that WhatsApp, you will know all the responsible people. If it is billing, if it is poles that are rotten, whatever, I think you will know these. But in the event, in the unlikely event that you don't find that help, those of us who are here, we can take advantage, and if Engineer Ndendero is willing, he can give us his number as the regional manager for this area. Then after this, we will invite our Reverend Kanake, who will pray for us and also pray for what has been offered, because there are something to eat. Let me call it this way, because it's approaching the time that we really have to eat. Then he'll pray for us also for that. And then we will invite you to interact with the Kenya Power people if there is any question that you felt was not properly answered and you want more details. So maybe we can get contact.
Okay, thank you, Bwana MC. Very quickly, first of all, my name is Ezra Ndendero. I'm regional manager. This region, we call it Northeastern. I told you it covers Kiambu, it covers Kitui, Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. So if you have anything in all those 5 counties, ni mimi. And my number is 0714 61 0089. And yes, my MC and member, sorry, the email is edenderu at kplc.co.ke. kplc.co.ke. Denderu. My name is Ezra Denderu. The email is Denderu. One word. Sorry, the area that I cover. I said I'm regional manager. It is called Northeastern. Sasa mmejua nyinyi mko Northeastern. Regional manager Northeastern. And Northeastern covers 5 counties. One is Kiambu, where we are, Kitui, Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. In other words, I start naanziaga pale Gedhurai, pale boundary inaanza mpaka kwa border ya Ethiopia. I take care of all that. So if you have any issues there, you can always call me. Like the MC said, kama kuna kitu and it's not being done, you can always escalate it to me. Asante sana.
Thank you, and thank you very much, all of you for coming. I believe I will now invite Reverend Kanake. He can also do the vote of thanks as well.
Engineer Karaja. Good afternoon. I just want to carry out the assignment at this moment of making sure we thank God for what we have gone through, and of course pray for the bite, so that we can have energy to take us to the next level where we can get something to continue talking. I want to take the opportunity also to say thank you for coming. And when you have come here, you have not gone home empty. I am shocked that I'm sitting next to the regional manager, Kenya Power, all the way from here to Ethiopia. Congratulations, Dedero. It's also shocked me on your skills of, what I would like to call customer relations is very good for you. Your communication is above, and you have an edge on what we call humanitarian diplomacy. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. I want to also say, our elder, my friend, my colleague, Omwangi, we are age mates, that it has been great for you to come here so that you are able to help us look at this thing from the perspective of where we have come from and the journey and where we are. Kenya is going through, I think, the other phase of a completely transformed nation, productive and growing and very fast. And I want to say thank you for people like you, the way you put in your dot in the area of very important, the area of devolution. It was a major challenge. I used to look at the press and I would say, I don't know whether my friend will survive this time, but God helped you. I want to appreciate that you have used your knowledge, your abilities, your skills. You have a tool, a big tool to deal with these issues. He has explained the difference between public participation and public education. That is an area where we need to really get through. But I want to say both have taken place here. Both public education and public participation has taken place. The people in problems are the people in Nairobi City. They do not understand up to now what is public participation and what is public education. I have been doing evaluations for the Nairobi City, and they are not able to really give out to the consumer the services, because the challenges are not just communication, but they don't want to talk to the people and ask them to give their ideas and engage properly for progressive service delivery output. Let me pray. Can we stand so that the blood can flow? Lord, I thank you for the opportunity and the privilege. We are humbled this day to come to Thika and talk about public education, public participation as a way of getting Kenya to the next level. We want to thank you, those who got the opportunity to come. Next time, come with your friend and with your neighbor. We want to thank you, mighty Lord, for all that have come here. Go and teach another 10 people so that we can multiply the privilege, the opportunity to participate in our country's development agenda. I therefore release you to go and go in peace. And as we move, God will bless you day in, day out, as you go out and as you come back. At this moment, I want to say it is imperative we request you to bless the cup of tea and whatever else we shall have as a bite. For it is in your name we pray and believe. Amen? Amen. You are blessed people. Thank you.
And I think it was a good session.